Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Damn, man. I'm trying to get to my computer, man. I can't. I don't understand what's going on with my phone. Can't hear Jack. Judy. Oh, you can hear me now, man. Oh, you scared me, man. I gotta get. I don't know what's going on. Let me get out this doggone whip. I know that. I, maybe it was the car. There we go. Maybe it was the car. Yeah, I think it was the car. Let me set it up. It was uh, attached to the Bluetooth. Birmingham, Alabama. Salute. 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 Let me get in here and get on this computer. Oh, my little knucklehead. Come on. You said the Knicks? Yeah, so shout out to the Knicks. We're going to talk about that later on, man. We're going to damn sure talk about that. Because it's over. I'm going to get me a Brunson jersey, Jack. And a OG. Nah, and a cat. I got to get all three. Yeah, I'm a real big Knicks fan now. I'm always want to be with a winner, Skip. Yeah. Uh-huh. Who the hell want to be with a loser? Nobody. Nobody. Yeah, I was wrong. Wimby, you got a lot of work to do on getting stronger and getting into your base. Ooh, no. And he showed his youth with that pass. LeBron to the Knicks. Oh, then I ain't gonna be no Knicks fan. It's over with. Then you bring him down there. OG gonna have to really get there and defend the whole team then. For the league minimum, yeah, I like it. Mm-hmm. Boom, boom. The Cinderella story. Knicks were playing by 5 versus 8 and still won. I love it. Yeah. All right, let's get to this case. And here's what I got to say. Let me give my little pre soliloquy or prelude, whatever the fuck I'm trying to say. Let me give my little take. I think they screwed up by charging him with first degree murder. Because it you can't say it's first degree murder because now they're trying to say how soft or how hard Metcalf assaulted him. It's witnesses saying, yes, he assaulted him. He pushed him or touched him first. Some people say one arm, some people say two arm. But nevertheless, you put your hands on somebody. And you know what the difference with this whole situation is that when you saw this Chud the Builder case running around here calling black folks the N word, and they expect black folks to do nothing, don't touch him because he's using words. And in this situation, they can't be honest and say that this kid might have chimped out and put his hands on somebody that was serious about his self-defense. So at the very least, this would be manslaughter and not first degree murder. So if that's the only thing they have on the books is first degree murder, this lawyer should beat this pretty easily because everybody is saying that this kid touched him first. But I definitely do think this case is going to rip apart goddamn Dallas. And it might rip apart the country because this was stupid to have this case right on the heels of this damn China man getting away with popping a young black boy in the back. It's stupid to hell to chase somebody over some water. So you at least would think that this guy would go to jail for something, but no, he got set free because he's saying, and unalive people don't talk. So my condolences to the family, but unalive people don't talk. And so the fact that he had a firearm on him, and the fact that he was 14, which I don't think 14-year-olds can possess a handgun. They can create a narrative around that a jury would buy. Even though I still think to chase somebody over some water still should get you some damn time. I don't think I can chase somebody down over some damn water and shoot them. But hey, I don't know. And so, but I think on the heels of that situation, you have the Carmelo Anthony trial, which you already know the races are seeming like they're dividing because, and you can't say it's just black folks riding with black folks because look at how many people roll with this idiot Chud the Builder. Look how many idiots. I told you we need AI robots in the jury booth. I'm telling you, people are too divided by race now, and it's us and them. Cause Chud the Builder running around calling people the N word, they was okay with that. But then as soon as you offend a certain group, oh boy, they want you to apologize. Ask Candace Owens. They want to make us seem to be these sensitive, such and such people, but no. We just had a UFC fighter canceled from going to Strickland. He just got canceled from going. Sean Strickland cannot go to the White House and fight because he spoke against Israel. So you want to talk about sensitive? Oh no! Don't try to put that shit on black folks. No, these people are the most sensitive people in the world. They will take your job, your livelihood. They'll take everything from you if you say the wrong thing. Now that's some sensitive shit. We just want to slap the hell out you. Y'all take a mother. Y'all try to bury people alive. Where does he work? Who does he do? Take all this money. Let's take everything. That's sensitive. That is chimping out. If a person say something, you're that evil, and you have a network set up where you can blackball people even from arenas. When Kanye was talking stupid and saying things that people didn't agree with, he was still just using words. But because of those words, Kanye West could not even rent out certain people's stadiums. I'm talking about a talented man, a viable option. He couldn't even use the stadiums. You want to talk about sensitive? Come on, man. He ain't cut nobody. He ain't stabbed nobody. He was using words. Words that you might not agree with. Hell, words some of them I don't agree with. But I don't want to bury the man alive. They want to bury people alive for words. But then turn around and want to laugh at someone else's pains by disrespecting them and then say, don't chimp out. Now we got an Indian guy running around telling white folks, give me back my land. You stole my land. like this is going to help America. I do not understand the stupidity that's going on in people's mind nowadays. How does that help America by running up to people that ain't fucking with you and telling them about whatever? You got a black dude in New York. Show me you're not racist and let me sit down. Show me you're not racist and buy me something to eat. All these stupid things just to go viral. Let me tell you something. I'm a grown man. And I don't give a damn what color you is. When I'm out, I'm chill. But if you ask me to buy you something to eat and all that weirdo stuff, I'm just gonna want to get away from you. I'm not gonna want to be violent towards you. I'm gonna think you a weirdo. Cause you a grown ass goddamn man, and I'm not buying you Jack Judy. Cause you grown. You know, that ain't got nothing to do with race. I was taught that if you don't work, you don't eat. Now, if I see a homeless person and I have it on my heart to give them some money, I will do that. But don't bring your grown ass up to me talking about buy me something to eat. Fuck you. I don't give a damn what color you are. You could be Kamala, you could be a mutt. I ain't calling Kamala a mutt. I'm just saying, you could be a half breed, you could be whatever you want to be. And the answer is no. Shit. I'm just saying. Hey, oh shit. Oh, let me get this computer booted up, boy, if I get myself in trouble. Why is this computer off anyway? Salute to you, Terry. I give money to sincere beggars. Nah, but if you come up to me talk about like I don't like that. I don't like that on no side. Prove to me that you're not racist. Buy me something. Prove to me you ain't racist. Let me sit down. Hey, nobody want to hear that shit. That's stupid. And then walking up to somebody and antagonizing them is equally stupid. Now, they never used the term provoke when it came to Chud the Builder. I was using that term. I said, yo, he provoking people and using a racial slur. You can't just do that. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's stupid to even try something like that. And that's harassment as well. You know what I'm saying? So here it is that when Austin Metcalf said, not Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony said, hey, touch me and find out. They're saying that was him provoking. I'm like, that sound more like a warning to me. Sounded more like I'm gonna sit here and chill like I've been doing. And you got a problem with me being here. You touch me and you gonna find out what I'm gonna do back to you for touching me. That sounds more like a warning. That's not a threat, you know. And this is my thing. Nobody never asked this question. Would I have brought a knife to attract meat? No. But I was on the larger side of a child, you know. I wasn't 130 pounds and I wasn't walking around at 5'6". So I have a physical presence that I'm a little more confident. I done got jumped before where I lived, you know. So I'm a little more confident than a 5'6", 130 pound kid. Compared to a 215 pound, 6'2" kid. And size does matter. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Size do matter. Because if I jump on a regular sized guy, first thing they gonna say is Kwame, big as a motherfucker. Now if I lose, they gonna say, hooray, he kicked his big ass. But if I win, they gonna say, boy, he was too big to be fighting that dude. You know what I'm saying? So my question is, why are they using the language provoked when Carmelo is just using his words? You shouldn't chimp out. That's what Chud the Builder was saying? It seemed like he chimped out and he put his hands on somebody who was serious that didn't want you to touch him. And if he did not put his hands on him, and if he would have went and got, let's say, an administrator, because they keep trying to talk about this tent culture. Okay, fine. We got a locker room culture, cool. But we got doors that lock on our locker room. So we ain't had to worry about nobody coming in our goddamn locker room. We slammed the door on you, and we had security by the door. And we let them do their job. But what we did not have was players that was going to go get in fights like they were security guards to get people out of tents. Shouldn't it be a rule that yes, you don't allow people in your tent, but don't you have administrators and teachers or track coaches that can do their job as an authority figure to get a young man out of a tent? Don't you think shit? Why ain't nobody talking about that? They keep talking about a knife that we all saying that we wouldn't have bought, but It's not illegal for him to have a knife there. It's against school policy. It's against school policy, so he shouldn't have had it, but it's not illegal. But why ain't nobody talking about in this tent culture, um, who is supposed to administer the justice? The players? So they're telling these young kids, you're the leader. If somebody come in this tent, they got to turn into bouncers. So they're encouraging these kids to fight. I think that's the flaw right there. Because okay, you don't want nobody in your tent, but if it's raining and all that, why couldn't he just sit there for a second until the rain stopped? And I definitely don't think this is a school policy that's backed up by the law, KB. I don't know. And the judge, I thought they said it wasn't. It's not a crime for him to have it. I found some videos. Hold on, I got a video. I'm no expert. I don't really believe in experts, but damn sure don't know the law more than most people. I damn sure don't. So I'm not gonna pretend. All right, I should be on the computer, but I do think it's unfortunate that a situation like this happened where it seemed like the kid was just sitting there. He spoke to a kid that he knew, and it seemed like he was just sitting there after that. And there are people like that. They don't want to be bothered. They just want to mind their dang on business. And you leave them the heck alone. But I guess they were telling these kids to, get these other kids out of the locker room or out of the tent. Don't allow other kids to come in the tent. And it's more like a team bonding type of thing. Like, this is our tent, this is our space. I get that, but that don't give you the right to assault somebody. And nobody's talking about that. They're trying to soften the blow. Now, I'm bigger than most people, right? And so sometimes I can not intentionally, I can push or touch somebody on and thinking I'm joking, thinking I'm playing, but because of my size, because I'm bigger, then that push could be harder than my intentions are. And I've had friends tell me, boy, goddamn, you stop pushing me like that, motherfucker. That was heavy. You heavy handed. And sometimes you don't know your own strength, but still, that doesn't give you a right to put your hands on somebody because you don't want them in your tent. So they already they already killed the whole first degree murder. Now they're trying to prove intent just because he had a pocket knife. A lot of kids carry a pocket knife. Some of them don't bring them to school, but a lot of kids carry a utility knife, pocket knife, whatever. You use it for whatever you want to use it for. I got a neighbor, his kid ain't nothing but like 12, 13 years old, but this boy shoot guns all the time, carry a buck knife. He carry it everywhere he go. His daddy taught him it. So I just don't understand, just because you have a weapon don't mean you are going to use a weapon. So if yeah, that's what I was saying, Paul. If they go and charge him with something, they should have charged him with manslaughter, and that may have been a slam dunk case. But if you're gonna try to charge a kid with first degree murder, that's you're gonna take away his whole life for sitting down, telling somebody, "Don't touch me." Is that what you're telling me? You're gonna take a teenager's life away that ain't never been in trouble. And the media tried to depict this kid as some angry, mad kid. And then you look at what they say in the courtroom. They said the kid was crying. He ran from the people, ran directly to the police officer, took accountability for what he did. And when they said, I have the possible suspect, he said, no, I'm the actual person who did it. So this kid took responsibility for what he did right off the rip. It didn't sound like somebody that was intentionally trying to hurt somebody. Then he gets in the back of a squad car and he asks how the person is doing. That don't sound like somebody that was trying to intentionally unalive somebody. It sounds like a kid that is not really, it sounds like he was moving around in fear. He was fearful that he's a smaller kid. Now, he didn't want to be touched, and I don't think that should be. Nobody don't want to be touched. Why bring a weapon to a school event? I can't speak to that. I'm not 130 pounds. I said I wouldn't do it. But again, I grew up fighting. So getting jumped with or fighting one on one, cool. I would live another day. But I'm not walking around at 5'6", 130 pounds either. And that's why I tell people you gotta first get your kid a baseline of self-defense so that these kids don't need to feel the need to walk around with all these weapons. A lot of these kids are walking around fearful because look at these teen takeovers. Look at what these kids are actually doing to each other. Y'all don't know. Y'all are not walking around in these kids' shoes. Y'all don't know what's happening for real. Especially a young man, a young male, and he's on the smaller side of a young man. Hell, if I was 5'6", 130 and nobody put me in karate, my parents never put me in boxing, so I'm not trained on what to do. Shit, I might have me a brick and a knife. I'm just saying. And just having something to protect yourself don't mean you're going to use it. And I think that if that young man had not put his hands on Carmelo Anthony, that knife would have stayed in his bag. Because the only thing he said he would use it for is if someone touched him in a manner that he didn't want to be touched. So that's what it sounded like to me. So I don't know how they're gonna get and I don't got no dog in the fight and I don't do the black and white shit and white people have proven to me that some of them that they're just as racist that some black folks say that they are because they don't give the benefit of the doubt on nothing when it comes to us, when it comes to a white guy doing something. But when a black kid does it, they rally around, they put money up, they do everything in their power to let you know they don't give a feet up. So I'm just gonna stick to the facts. And the facts are what they are. People are focusing on what people are saying in the media and what some black people that are being interviewed are saying. That don't got nothing to do with the actual case. The actual case is in black and white saying that Carmelo Anthony was sitting down with his hand in the bag. It ain't a crime to have your hand in the bag, and you can't prove that he had his hand in a knife because you could on a knife because you could not see his hand. He could have had his hand on his soda pop and to switch it over to a damn knife. You don't know what he did when his hand is covered up, and it's not a crime to have your hand in a bag. But if he would not have been touched, he would not be reaching for a knife. And that's what the facts say. Because the young man warned him, do not touch me. And when he was touched, he used the knife. So I believe if he wasn't touched, he wouldn't have used it. So let's see what other people are saying around the internet. 'Cause let's see how what he break down. Like
Well, Karen, so far we've heard from first responders as well as law enforcement officers who responded to the stadium for the stabbing. This has included a Frisco firefighter as well as several Frisco police officers. We also got to see body camera footage of Anthony's arrest. Now, that firefighter, he described in some graphic detail the state of Austin Metcalf's body after the stabbing. Metcalf's father put his head in his lap, and his mother wiped away tears at that point in the trial. Now, this case revolves around a confrontation between Anthony and Metcalf at a Frisco ISD track meet last April. Authorities say Anthony stabbed.
see, that's a media narrative. Just like it's a media narrative that they knew each other, he was bullying them. That's just a narrative. That kid went into that tent because it was raining and he knew another young boy in the tent. And then he spoke to that dude and sat right next to him. He sat down. He's in a seated man is in the most docile position you can be in, other than laying on the damn ground. and he was sitting down. He wasn't trying to fight nobody. So again, I know some people are gonna look at it from the lens of white, black, and all this other BS. I'm not gonna do that. I'm looking at it from somebody who warned you not to touch him. But whether he's in a tent or not, you go get an administrator, you go get law enforcement, you go get somebody else. Don't you put your hands on people, because we already know people ain't playing. And this young kid, Austin Metcalf, he underestimated this young man, because in the police thing is saying that he said something like, "You're in Frisco, you ain't got nothing in that bag." So no, you don't play with people and you don't touch people purposely to see what they have. To me, that statement proves that he was antagonizing this young man, because he asked him not to touch him. He simply just had his hand in his bag. The other guy said, "You don't have nothing in that bag," and then he proceeds to touch him. So no, you can't run around and say don't chimp out over words when you're saying racial slurs, and then turn right around and make it okay for people to put their hands on other people. And now you're talking about whether it was hard or soft. You don't put your hands on people. Go get an administrator.
Metcalf, but Anthony says it was self-defense. After the firefighter testified, the officer who arrested Anthony took the stand. He described handcuffing Anthony as the body cam footage played. According to Officer Eduardo Cortez, Anthony told him, quote, "I'm not alleged, I did it," and quote, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." On cross-examination, the defense did confirm Anthony surrendered peacefully and complied with the officers. The defense also pointed out the no weapons rule is not a criminal offense, just a policy of Frisco ISD. Defense attorney Mike Howard asked Officer Eduardo Cortez about Anthony crying after the stabbing. Cortez said in response, quote, "Did I see tears coming down his face? I can't testify to that because I didn't see his face. My description was based on the tone of his voice." We're now hearing from another police officer right now. This is the officer that found the knife that prosecutors believe was used in the stabbing. This case is expected to go through the end of today and into tomorrow. Live in McKinney, Trevor Sahak.
Boy. So you got to talk about some truly.
First of all, don't come in here name calling. Don't chimp out or don't honky out, whichever one you are. Don't come in here name calling, because maybe you're too silly enough to hear that I said they shouldn't have charged him with first-degree murder, maybe manslaughter at best. So that's not giving somebody a reason just to unalive somebody, idiot. That's up to the law to prove whether Metcalf's assault was enough to prove that he felt fearful of his life. That's not up to me. But again, this would have never happened if he wouldn't have put his hands on Karmelo Anthony. And that's what you don't want to deal with. You want black folks to not chimp out, as you say, for words, but then this young man can put his hands on somebody, and you want us to overlook that. But to charge this young boy with first-degree murder that was sitting down with his hand in his bag, wasn't touching anybody, I think it's a bit much. You can't take in Texas, that would be his whole life damn near in the chain gang. No, I don't think that. I think that's way too much. I think that's way too much. So at the very least, you can charge him with manslaughter.
Devastating news for Karmelo Anthony, who's currently on trial for murdering Austin Metcalf at a track meet. Okay, everybody knows what happened between these two 17-year-old teenage boys. It's a very tragic situation. It also sparked a whole lot of race conversations, a lot of racial animosity in this country. Just overall terrible story. Okay, but I shouldn't have to go over the basic details because everybody knows what happened. Okay.
Oh man, we got somebody in the chat honkying out. Spirit, would you guide him? Out the fuck out of my chat. Goddamn honkying out.
In this video, we're going to talk about the information that I wanted to know from the beginning, which is what actually happened, right? What did witnesses say happened? Okay. And the reason why is because from the beginning, I said that my opinion about whether or not I believe that Karmelo is innocent or guilty is based off the facts and the evidence and the witness testimony in regards to what happened and whether or not Karmelo actually met any of the elements required to claim self-defense. Lo and behold, the actual witness testimony is coming out, and I can't lie to you guys. It looks really bad for Karmelo.
Only reason why I think it looked really, really bad for Karmelo because they kicked off every black juror in Texas. They said, we ain't gonna let one black people showed up for jury duty. That's fucking amazing, boy. They really rallied around this kid. But that's fucked up that not one. I thought we were supposed to be represented by our peers. And black people showed up to get on the jury and they told them, hell no. That's crazy. But I think they gave Karmelo an out because this trial is going to be over because they can't convict. I don't believe so. You can convict him for first-degree murder. You got to prove a lot for first degree. Second-degree manslaughter or something like that, a lesser charge, then they might got something because, of course, a judge is going to say, just because he pushed you don't mean you can stab him. I don't know, but we'll see. But all the sensitive people that's acting like, just by discussing this, you're going to bring race into it, go eat some pig shit.
Based off what I'm reading thus far as of the making of this video. And this is very important because the pro-blacks have already declared that this is racism. This is racism, hate, and bigotry. And they've made up facts. They've made up stories in order to fit a narrative that they only can support with made up facts because given the facts that we have right now, Karmelo doesn't have a strong self-defense claim, right? And if you guys remember, these people were going with the narrative that Karmelo was jumped. See, you don't understand. These two big scrapping white boys were trying to jump Karmelo because they had been bullying him before in the past, right? Karmelo was being bullied by these guys. And that Karmelo acted in self-defense because he was getting his ass whooped, right, by the white boys, and he had.
Come on, black conservatives perspective. You said you was gonna stick to the facts of the case, and then you start talking about what other people were saying that don't got nothing to do with the facts of the case. Let's stick to the court transcript. And what the court said was that young man put his hands on him. So you got to take that into account. You cannot walk around here putting your hands on people. All right. So let's not focus on what other people have said, like this brother, because doing this is just a throw off right here, showing what people said that what maybe wasn't there and all that. This is just a throw off. The court said that the young man put his hands on the man while he was sitting down. Depending on the state you in, you cannot put your hands on another person. I'm telling you, keep your hands to yourself because it can go there.
Was it clear enough or was it fuzzy or what?
No, it was clear. It was clear enough where you see the actual individual raindrops come by the cameras.
Okay.
That's how clear it is. You actually see them walking up. You see that Karmelo is already up under there. He's under there minding his business.
Dodging the rain or?
Yeah, it was still rain.
Right.
So that day we were under a tornado watch.
Right.
We were under thunderstorm warning, and we know we had already had some light rain then, and it started raining again, and it was over with for the day.
Okay.
So that's kind of what happened on that day. But they were at a rain delay already, and so during that time when that happened, the twins, their two buddies, and a few other kids. There was a few kids involved with them. They were all coming from the direction of the middle school, coming walking back up.
Right.
On the video, you can see those four that actually was involved, and maybe about 3 or 4 others that was with them, skipping up, trying to catch up behind. One veered off probably toward his way to go to the coach and kind of distract him a little bit. And then the other 4 came walking together. One went in front of them, went past.
Right.
The other 4 went and they surrounded Carmelo. If you were Carmelo,
and they showed that on that video.
It's on the video.
Okay, come on.
You can see him walking.
I'm gonna say little stuff.
I'll put it this way.
Okay.
They actually tell you when you're watching the video, pay attention to this corner right here, because if you look anywhere else, you might miss different things.
Okay.
So watch those 4. Here, they're 4 right there coming up.
Right.
That's exactly what they say.
Okay.
And so you have no way to be confused that it's those 4.
Okay.
So they come up, they surround them, and it's an immediate moment of not even a few seconds of pause. Then that's when they jump. And so
they actually did jump him.
Yeah, it wasn't just no touch. It wasn't just all that moment. Yeah, it was a push. It was all kind of things. But Austin pushed, Hunter hit, and then everybody swung. But at the same time,
So it's more than the twins that got some licks.
All 4.
So it showed that in the video.
Yes, in the video. So again, you got Hunter and Austin standing in the middle.
Okay.
And you have the light bright boy here, and you have the darker boy here.
Okay.
So it is a very frustrated time right now for Black Americans, from the rampant racism.
He had every opportunity to retreat. Who does he have a duty to retreat from? He was sitting down. See, that's why I live in Georgia and I like Florida. We don't have no duty to retreat from nobody. You better not put your motherfucking hands on nobody. I'm telling you.
You cannot put your hands on people, man. Leave people alone. If he was that upset, back when I was in high school, they were still fighting. That was over 25 years ago. Nowadays, ain't none of these kids fighting. You guys told boys that they should not fight, which I think is the stupidest thing in the world because they're going to get out violence somehow. So now none of them can't fight. They swing like girls. So all of them have weapons. And if you would allow them to fight, if you encourage them to fight, guess what? They probably won't fight. Some of the best fighters, some of the most trained fighters, they find a way not to fuck you up because they know that they're going to hurt you. And they don't really want to hurt you like that because they know you don't know what you're doing. So some of those guys be the coolest dudes. Teach these kids how to fight and they would stop shooting so much because we like punching each other in the face. It's something about a boy. If we know how to fight, I love to, we love to get a little fisticuff in if we know what we're doing. But when you don't know what you're doing, you don't want to get that embarrassment from not knowing what you're doing. So these kids need to learn how to fight. It should be a part of their PE, their physical education. They should have to learn how to fight. I know the women are like, oh my God, I don't want my little Johnny punching. Then how the fuck can your little Johnny ever turn into a protector? Your little Johnny gonna have a girl that another man can just grab on the ass and what he gonna do? Oh, I'm calling 911 right now, buddy. You stay right there. You can't call him a protector. You might can call him a provider, but the girl still ain't gonna want to be with him. Like, that's stupid. So you gotta teach these boys something.
Laws being taken away from us, to straight up injustices within the court systems, the trial of Karmelo Anthony has started. Now, if you don't know who this young brother is, who at the age of 17, keep that in mind, he is a child, was arrested for stabbing a young man by the name of Austin. But this wasn't self-defense. This was a tragic situation, and I would have did anything to prevent it. But essentially, from what I know, Austin and his brother, which are two bigger white males, came into the area of Karmelo Anthony. Apparently, these guys were bullying him in the past, and as we know, bigger white males came, and I would have did anything to prevent it. But essentially, from what I know, Austin and
I want some of you, you black young men to understand something. You guys think you ready for a race war. Look how big this white boy is. He looked like he had a physical presence about himself. It looked like he wrestled. It looked like he probably could scrap a little bit. And he looked like he pretty good with a firearm. Now, these young boys that we have been the smallest little kids. Some of these kids can fit girl jeans. Some of these little boys are so, and even when they big, they have no idea how to fight. And I'm just trying to figure out, how did it get like that to where so many of these kids, big or small, have zero physical presence at all? As soon as you grab them, they get like a fish out of water. Like, how did that happen? Now, this kid is way bigger than Austin Metcalf. And I don't think in a physical situation, I mean, he's way bigger than Karmelo Anthony. And I don't think Karmelo Anthony could have done anything against this dude if he really tried. If he really wanted to do something, I don't think he could have done nothing against this dude without a knife. Y'all tell me. He's in a seated position, 5'6", 130 pounds. Look how big this kid is or was. That's crazy. Get out of the tent. All this over a kid getting out of a tent. Nobody taught these kids some de-escalation skills. That's a shame. Kwame, when they on the, say what? Was it ever stated in court about bullying? No, I don't think this had nothing to do with bullying at all. I think this just had something to do with one kid said, I'm not going to be touched by you. And he knew he couldn't physically do nothing against this bigger kid. And it just, one thing led to another. And he felt remorseful, about it. But all this over a tent. This is a shame on both sides. It's a shame because one kid is gone and another kid is fighting for his life. His whole life is going to be ruined by this situation one way or another.
His brother, which are two bigger white males, came into the area of Karmelo Anthony. Apparently, these guys were bullying him in the past, and as we know, Karmelo had to defend himself. The white media right now is in shambles, and they are trying to paint Karmelo as this monster, this and that. And this is why I made my platform, to give y'all the black media perspective. What you got to notice is that, man, this system, the way it do black people, but specifically black boys, it's embarrassing to say the least.
You can just tell it's a lot of bias shit going on.
It's bias, yes.
I guarantee if this was the other way around, y'all would want Austin Metcalf to beat the case. The Karmelo Anthony dude don't even have a jail record. He ain't never.
Another thing, he has a perfect record, no record. He comes from a great family, 2-parent household. Like, it's fuck, bro. Karmelo, damn, dog.
Been in trouble before, so why is y'all acting like he was a trouble kid? I can understand if he was just out here living reckless. He probably was just tired of being bullied and he was scared for his life.
I believe Karmelo did what he had to do. And if he was my little brother or my little cousin, I would have told him to maybe go about it a different way. And even the fact that everybody's bringing up, oh, he's at school at a track meet. Why does he have a weapon? First of all,
even this brother said he probably would have told him to go about it a different way. And all of us have said this, but they still act like they don't hear that, because I know what they would do. Like if that was my son, I know what they would do to my son if he was to ever do something like that. So I would always, that's why the first thing I did was put my son in jiu-jitsu. You got to learn how to fight. You talk shit all the time. He was getting on the video games, cursing, getting upset like he wanted to fight, but didn't know how to fight. I'm like, what are you going to do if somebody actually punches you? Because it's going to be different from talking once it turns physical. And a lot of these kids, they learn sitting in the house with their mamas. My son was in the house with his mama, came to me at 13. So he learned seeing that his mama can get away with all that talking and no one touches her. You a man. Someone will reach out and touch you, running your mouth like your mama. And I was the guy that told him that first. Like, what you say can get your ass whipped. Damn what somebody told you. You are a man. And I don't know what they teach you in school, that words are just words. In the real world, you disrespect the wrong man and he gonna put hands on you. And you got to know what to do back. You got to know how to defend yourself. And so to teach, to not be one of the first things that a young boy learn, you got to learn to read, you got to learn to write, you got to learn to speak, you got to learn respect and discipline, but they should also learn how to fight. And whoever is taking that away from young kids, I think that's one of the big disservices that's going on, that all young boys are not, they all should have to learn to wrestle, however you want to say it. They all should have to learn some sort of self-defense. And I think it would calm things down just a little and take away all this dumbass rap that's get these kids in this euphoria of thinking they can just walk around here unaliving people.
well, it was a cleat sharpener. And why do y'all act like school shootings don't happen? This is America. You know what I'm saying? These crazy ass white dudes walking around shooting up schools all the time. Someone having a knife on them, even if it was, is not out of the ordinary.
And apparently his brother come over to Karmelo. Words are exchanged, and he says they tried to swing at him. Karmelo goes to his bag, and then they pursue. They continue on.
It was raining. It got rained out like crazy bad. Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra wet. Dude was sitting up under the tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughter was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude, what was up? McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another. They grabbed this man and they tried to punch on dude. Dude went in his bag and they went to try to jump this dude and punch on this dude, man. And he protected himself, dude. That's what happened. Yeah. It wasn't just one. It was both of them, bro. Austin, the dude that got unalive, and his brother physically went over there to intentionally. It's not to the point that he brought a knife. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is at least 5 to 10 miles away. It was a community track meet, bro. It wasn't a school track meet. So he had the right to have a knife on his person, bro.
Yeah. So again, what I was interested in the most, okay, from this trial, and this is part of the reason why I'm like, I don't need it to be televised. I just need to know what the witnesses said. Because let's be real, the video that we allegedly have is very grainy. It's not definitive, right, in either direction from what we've heard, okay? It certainly doesn't support the side of the story that the pro-blacks are telling, right, the lies that they're telling. But I wanted to hear the witness testimony, people who were actually there and what they had to say about this. And lo and behold, the pro-blacks were lying, right? That all the stuff they claimed that probably could have helped Karmelo in his self-defense claim, which is that
You said making false narratives. What? Kwame, you're making false narratives. What false narrative did I make? Everything I said, the kids testified to. They said Metcalf put his hands on Anthony. So I don't know what false narrative I made up, but hey.
he was jumped, right? Them two big scrapping white boys, right? Tried to jump him. Lo and behold, it turns out that that's not what the witnesses are saying, right? That's not what they're testifying. And we got to talk about this because they're coming out and they're basically saying the exact opposite of what the pro-blacks spread online. And this is not good, right? This is not good at all for Karmelo. So let's get into this. Quote, not aggressive like it would hurt him. Witness details Austin Metcalf's final moments. The parade of student-athlete witnesses continued into late Friday afternoon. A 17-year-old Frisco Memorial High School athlete and friend of Austin Metcalf testified that he saw Metcalf and his brother Hunter warming up on the day of the stabbing. He said he did not previously know Karmelo Anthony. He said he saw Anthony walk up. Quote, he dapped somebody up. I believe it was Eddie. He said, quote, it was nice at first and things started heating up from there. He said Austin was basically telling him he can't be under the tent. This is backed up by the testimony of a coach, right, who basically said
that he said, I like how opinionated some folks are in the chat without using their real name. Yeah, they just hide behind an avatar and say anything stupid.
That, yeah, I mean, when it comes to team tents, you're not supposed to have people who aren't supposed to be under the tent. And I totally understand that because stuff gets stolen at these track meets, right? You have all these kids there and people have their valuable stuff, their phones, their wallets, whatever, under the tent in their bags. And Karmelo was under a tent that he wasn't supposed to be under. And he was asked to leave, okay? And again, this was a reasonable request. It's not unreasonable to ask somebody that you...
No, I'm going to have to go check it out. If Judge Joe said something about it, I'm going to have to go check it out. Uh-oh.
Don't know who's under a tent they're not supposed to be under, who is near your stuff to say, hey, you got to go. You can't be here. That's not unreasonable, okay? So let's continue. He said he heard Anthony say, quote,
no, it's not unreasonable for you to say that, for you to say, hey, we don't want you over here. We don't want you in the tent. But what's unreasonable is for you to expect somebody to let you just put your hands on them and assault them. That's what's unreasonable.
Oh, touch me and see what happens, and that Austin stepped towards him. He testified that Anthony had a hand in his backpack, which he found unusual and concerning. Quote, the vein of Anthony's arm was visible like he was grabbing something. He said Anthony told Austin Metcalf not to touch him. Quote, Austin went and touched him on the shoulder, kind of moving him, the witness said, adding that Anthony touched him. Quote, Anthony's arm was visible like he was grabbing something. He said Anthony told Austin Metcalf not to touch him. Quote, Austin went and touched him on the shoulder.
Destroys first degree to me right there. Young man asked somebody not to touch them, and then you proceeded to touch them. He didn't premeditate you touching him. He just told you not to touch him. So again, that I don't see how you charge him with first degree murder for, you can bring up why he brought the knife. You can bring up whatever. This guy has never been in trouble. 5'6", 130 pounds, sitting down and defended himself after being pushed. Would I have brought a knife to school? No. But this young man did. So I don't think it meets first degree. But maybe if they had a different charge, then maybe it would have meet that statute. But this one, first degree, I think that's too much.
Kind of moving him, the witness said, adding that Anthony then stabbed him. Quote, I was in disbelief, he said. Austin was a bigger guy, and he had tried to be nice about it. He said Anthony was not cooperating, not listening, and that Austin Metcalf did not seem to want to fight. He said Austin used two hands when he touched Anthony. Prosecutors asked whether it seemed aggressive. Quote, not aggressive like it would hurt him, the witness said. He was trying to move him, aka this was not a brawl, right? This was not Hunter and Austin Metcalf jumping Carmelo Anthony. That didn't happen, okay? That didn't happen. This is what witnesses are saying, the people who are actually there, not random blacks on the internet making up bullshit. He said it was not self-defense and that Carmelo Anthony murdered Austin Metcalf. He estimated that roughly 12 girls and a few boys, quote, maybe 2 to 5 were under the tent at the time. Here's another witness. Frisco Liberty graduate says she heard, quote, if you wanted me to move, you'd have to move me before stabbing. A recent Frisco Liberty High School graduate who competed in track and discus said her team tent was about 5.5 feet from Memorial High School's tent, and it had been raining off and on throughout the day. She said she heard commotion coming from the Memorial tent, describing it as, quote, more so people wanted a certain person to leave, that person refusing to go, aka the people there wanted Carmelo.
So it was raining. So that is confirmed in court that it was raining. And he knew a kid under the tent. And so he went up under the tent to get out the rain and he sat down. And he didn't go in there and cause a disturbance. You telling me you can't give a kid a pass? Where it's pouring down raining, and understand on a normal clear day, this is our tent. But if it's raining like that, why could he just sit there and mind his business? Why couldn't he just sit there and mind his business? That's crazy.
To leave, and Carmelo refused to leave, even though he had no business being under that tent. She heard Carmelo Anthony say, quote, if you wanted me to move, you'd have to move me. She said Austin Metcalf didn't seem to want to fight. After the stabbing, she said, quote, I just heard his brother trying to find help for him. She said she feels some of the news coverage has been unfair and that it has taken a racial angle. She said she doesn't think the case has anything to do with race, and she does not think it was self-defense. Wow. Here's another student. Stuff like this never happened after fatal track meet stabbing. Another witness, a 17-year-old Frisco Memorial High School student who plays football and competes in track, said his mother and sister were at the meet. His sister is on the track team and his mother worked at concessions. He said that when he arrived at the team tent, he was putting on his shorts and saw Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony. Austin was asking him, who are you? Because no one really knew who he was. The witness said he was trying to provoke Austin to touch him. Yeah. So again, another lie that is being debunked, which is that Carmelo and Austin knew each other. And Austin was the big white bully who had been bullying little Carmelo for years, right? Again, these.
That's just what people are saying. Just like you got black folks that's gonna ride for Anthony because he black. You got white folks riding for Chud the Builder because he white. So let's not pretend like we don't know that. But that's not nothing to do with the facts of the case. The fact is the kid was under the tent because it was raining. And they said it was raining. Eyewitness said it was raining. Eyewitnesses say he sat down and spoke to one of the guys that he knew. Eyewitnesses say he wasn't bothering anybody, but he got touched from a seated position. So, I mean, outside of him being touched, I don't think this incident happens.
These people on the internet, they just make up whatever. They just make up whatever. They don't care about facts. They don't care about evidence. They don't care about how self-defense works. They don't care about anything except their narrative. That's it. That's all they care about. And again, lo and behold, the actual witness testimony, the people who are there are saying literally what we all knew, what was reported from the beginning. But again, the pro-blacks insisted, no. See, the white media is lying. The white media is lying. Carmelo was jumped. He was jumped by the white boys. Zero evidence to support that claim. But these people.
No, the white media is putting paint where it ain't. They'll try to make this kid look like a criminal, try to make him look unremorseful. A kid that said, don't touch me, and then stab somebody, run to the police officer, take accountability for it, show remorse for it, who's crying, that's not somebody that was intentionally trying to harm anybody. That's not somebody that's trying to harm nobody. This seemed look like a situation that went way too far.
Ran with it. They ran with this idea that, Austin had been bullying Carmelo for years, right? A known bully. They claimed that the knife was a cleat sharpener. Like, they just made up so much. Again, are any of these people going to, actually come out and say, hey, we were wrong about the facts on this, right? We were wrong for spreading misinformation and lies about what happened here. I guarantee you they're not. They're not. But again, this is working out the way I thought it would work out, right? Again, these are the real details that matter here. Quote, Austin was asking him, who are you? Because no one really knew who he was. The witness said he was trying to provoke Austin to touch him. Karmelo Anthony, was like, touch me, and see what happens. He said,
that's not trying to provoke. If he said, touch me and see what happens, that's a warning. Why can't somebody could use the N-word in somebody's face, and that's not provoking. But a kid saying, don't touch me or you're going to see what's happened, that's provoking? Man, that's crazy.
I don't know, sounds premeditated, right? Sounds very premeditated. Again, this is not good for Karmelo. This is not good for Karmelo at all. Austin told him, I'm not going to fight you at a track meet. He said, that's exactly his words. Wow. He said Austin Metcalf just touched him on the shoulder. He said he then heard Austin say, quote, he stabbed me.
So if I say, if you hit me, I'm going to defend myself, I provoked you to hit me? Oh, wow. Hey, man, if you hit me, I'm going to defend myself. You just provoked me to hit you. Boom. That is crazy. Nobody said you can kill somebody for touching you, but you have to admit he got touched first.
And saw Karmelo Anthony run away. He said he believes Karmelo Anthony provoked him, noting the conversation between Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf was short, less than 5 minutes, and that Austin Metcalf never held on to Karmelo Anthony or anything like that. Stuff like this never happened, not at a track meet, not in Frisco. He said, Austin was my team captain in football and told me he believed in me. It felt like I lost that one extra person who believed.
You must have just got here, because I said I would not go to a track meet with a knife. But I also said I'm not 5'6" and 130 pounds. I also said that I think they charged him with the wrong charge. I don't think this meets the requirement of first-degree murder, because outside of him being touched, he would have been sitting in a tent that nobody wanted him to be in, minding his business. Once he got touched, that's when he did what he did. Could you charge him with second degree or manslaughter? That would be a charge that might stick other than first degree murder. But hey, you can be emotional. You can be emotional, honky out, whatever you want to do. I'm just giving my opinion on what I'm hearing off the facts on the case and not what everybody else is saying.
Believed in me and pushed me to be great. The 17-year-old witness said he had a really hard time with the loss. Quote, it shook my sister worse than it shook me. He said, see, I'm going to tell you what the pro-blacks about to say. The pro-blacks are going to say, well, see, these are all Austin's friends and his teammates, right? So clearly they're lying, right? They're lying, okay? But again,
that's fine. That you can say he shouldn't have been in a tent, but that don't give you the right to physically put your hands on somebody and throw them out of a tent. You're not the authority over somebody. You don't get a chance to throw somebody out of a tent. See, they honkying out in the chat. I like it.
we have not seen or heard any evidence as of the making of this video, I will say, that supports the pro-black side of this story, right? Or the pro-murder side of the story. Let's be real. They aren't just pro-black. They're pro-murder, okay? A 6-year-old witness, a wide receiver who also runs hurdles and the 400 in track, said the day felt completely normal before the stabbing. He recalled, quote, nothing unusual going on that day, and noted that the rain, quote, was not bad prior to the stabbing. What first caught his attention was an unfamiliar athlete, later identified as Karmelo Anthony, stepping directly into their team space. Quote, he walked up and stood in our tent, the witness said. The witness immediately questioned why someone from another school would be there, saying, quote, it's kind of weird when other schools come and stand under our tent. According to him, Austin Metcalf confronted Karmelo Anthony right away. Austin asked him why he's in the tent, but the situation didn't resolve. Austin asked him multiple times to leave our tent, and he proceeded not to. The team witness said he did state multiple times that he had something in his bag. The witness said Austin Metcalf grew visibly irritated, explaining that, quote, Austin seemed frustrated and that Austin just wanted him out of there. Again, justified. You have some random.
I don't think it's justifiable. It's not justifiable for you to get upset. Listen to what he just said. That Austin got upset. He got more upset. He's supposed to control himself. Didn't y'all keep saying with Chud to build a case? Y'all say don't chip out. So he lost control. and then he put his hands on somebody. He put his hands on the young man. You don't just, maybe he wasn't supposed to be there. They have resource officers at the school to avoid situations like this. They got coaches. They got all kind of people to avoid kids getting into fights over stupid stuff like tents. But instead, they leaning into this culture of kids kicking other kids out of tents. Like, that's stupid. With the way these kids move in this day and age, you're supposed to keep adults around all of these kids. There should be an administrator at these tents to make sure that these things go correctly. Because these kids ain't like the kids of the old. They ain't going to duke it out. They ain't going to scrap it out. It's going to result into this. So all of you people in the chat that's getting all emotional and crazy and talking about woke and all this shit, I'm awake. I don't give a fuck about woke. I don't use that type of terminology. And the truth of the matter is, if you're all crushed in your emotions because I don't believe that this meets first-degree murder requirements, that it probably would be something like manslaughter. If you can't look up the difference between the two and give your opinion on it without chimping out, yeah, y'all white boys chimping out in the chat. If you, not all of you though, some of you, if you can't give your opinion about based on those two factors and not that your emotion about the color of the skin, then that's on you. It's not my fault. Thank you. Oh man, they helping the chat rate. Thank you.
Person that you don't know under your tent with your valuable stuff. He was being a leader. Austin was being a leader. You're talking about captain of the football team. He was being the type of leader that you normally see in situations.
Leaders don't put their hands on people. They de-escalate. So that's not being a leader. I disagree with that. He could have led himself to the administrator and have him removed the right way, but you don't just put your hands on people. So no, I don't think that's being a leader. And if this was the other way around, they would have never said that a 200-pound black kid was being a leader when he was throwing some 5'6", 130-pound white kid out of a tent. I don't think that's what they would have said.
They're all saying the same thing. Hey, Austin was simply just asking this guy to leave, right? He didn't belong in a tent. He didn't go to the school. Hey, they were asking him to leave. And he didn't want to leave. Apparently, he was asked 15 times to leave, didn't leave, and then basically provoked Austin to try to physically remove him from the tent. And that's when Karmelo stabbed him in the chest. So you have all of these students coming out, okay? You have the witnesses denying that the Memorial students, quote unquote, ganged up on Anthony, instead claiming that Anthony created the problem. So again, they're denying this idea that he was jumped, right? That Karmelo was scared, okay? He was being bullied by the white boys. Jalen Matthews, a second teammate of Metcalf, who is 18 and has since graduated, testified during the entire exchange. Metcalf's twin, Hunter, was on his phone, believing the sibling could handle the situation. Yeah. So again, he was not jumped. He wasn't jumped. Hunter was on the phone, right?
He wasn't jumped, but he definitely was touched. Yeah, over being in a tent, he got accosted by another kid instead of that kid going to get an administrator to have him removed the right way. What it sounds like, this kid took it upon himself to physically remove or push him out of the tent. And that's not something you should do. Yeah, I don't think that's something you should do. Let's see. This is on Young Don reacts to Karmelo Anthony. Young Don reacts. You got these people chimping out, boy. They is chimping and honking it out. I don't get into racist stuff with you.
And so, as usual, they are their own destruction. So here we have Karmelo Anthony on the left, Austin Metcalf on the right, and they were both 17-year-old teenagers when this happened. It is truly a tragedy what happened on both sides. We had a young boy who lost his life, and we had another young boy who has possibly put himself in a position where his life is going to be ruined for the rest of his life. So here, let's read an official statement from a police officer who was on the scene the day this incident occurred. This is coming from the official arrest report. On Wednesday, April 22nd, 2025, Officer Taylor Wetzel, was assigned to work patrol in the city of Frisco. At approximately 10:02 hours, I responded to the report of a stabbing at David Koo Kendall Stadium located at 88257 7th Street. The original call notes stated an athlete had been stabbed in the chest and that the subject that stabbed the victim goes to Sentinel High School. Athletic trainers were on site and were providing care to the victim and advised he was not conscious and not breathing. The notes also indicated that the suspect was a black male with a goatee and short hair wearing Sentinel gear. I arrived on scene at approximately 10:06 hours. When I arrived on scene, I grabbed a roll of crime scene tape from my truck and proceeded to the visitors' bleachers where dispatch advised the victim was. While I was walking towards the visitors' bleachers, I was approached by a witness who identified himself as Redacted, and he began telling me what happened. And as I asked him where the stabbing occurred, Redacted advised it had happened under the Memorial High School pop-up tent in the visitors' bleachers. I immediately informed Sergeant Otis where the witness stated the stabbing occurred and gave him the crime scene tape to start securing the crime scene.
So that's Karmelo Anthony telling the cop what he did, taking accountability for what he did. He didn't run home. He didn't do none of that. He ran to the cop, told him what he did, asked was the kid okay, cried in the back of the car. Does that sound like somebody who is trying to harm somebody?
Then had Redacted moved to the walkway under the visitors' bleachers out of the rain, so it was in fact raining, to further speak with me. The following, which is of course why he was under the tent in the first place. Okay, the following is a summary of my contact with Redacted. Advised he was sitting under the Memorial High School pop-up tent with his team and was near the victim, Austin, and the suspect, who was later identified as Karmelo Anthony. Anthony was from Sentinel High School and was sitting under the Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under their team's tent, and Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, touch me and see what happens. No one really thought Anthony really had any weapons in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. Okay, now let's pause here. Now notice what Karmelo allegedly said. Touch me and see what happens. This is not provocation, okay? Right? If somebody comes up to you and is talking shit in your face, talking about, hey man, I'm gonna smack you, and you say, oh yeah, well smack me and see what happens next. That is not you daring anybody to smack you. That is not provocation. You are being the provocateur. You are the one getting up in somebody else's personal space. You're the one that is infringing upon their body.
And I agree with that. I don't think somebody's saying, hey man, if you touch me, you're gonna see what happens. I don't think that's them threatening you. I think that's them warning you, and they should have took heed to the warning. And I believe that if the young man went straight to an administrator, and if this is supposed to be some rule that everybody know about, he should have went straight to the administrator, and then the administrator would have handled it. And if it would have escalated, they could have went and got a resource officer. But to have kids do this and throw people out and touch kids, other people's kids, I don't think that's how this tent situation should go down.
Autonomy, and you're the one threatening them. They tell you, hey, by the way, if you do something to me, you're not going to like what happens next. Touch me and see what happens. This is not daring anybody to do anything, as a lot of these white supremacists like to paint the situation. We continue. So we see Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out what Redacted recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest, and then began to run away, and then ran away. And so we see Austin put hands on Anthony twice, right? Now, I don't want to deliberate the situation like we said earlier. We don't have all of the information, right? Context is everything. Tonality is everything. Attitude is everything. We don't know what the body language was at the time of this, right? And I haven't seen any eyewitness statements that have sounded incredibly charitable to Karmelo, right? So all of these statements could be coming from people who are biased towards Austin. But the point is, if we were to just make this another situation where it's a white guy, he has a gun, right? Black guy comes up to him and telling him he needs to get out of here. And the white guy is like, hey man, you better leave me the fuck alone, right? If you mess with me, you're not going to like what happens next, right? And then the black guy grabs him, the white guy gets off of him and is like, hey man, touch me and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Ted, you said teach these soft boys how to fight. Yeah, I mean, back in my day, that would have just ended in a rumble, and then the teachers would have broke it up. Big, tall, or small. I got a homeboy that's 5'6", and he probably about 5'7" now. I don't think he grew up about 1 inch since we was since we was kids. And it don't matter what size you is, he gonna crack that jaw. You know, he gonna crack that jaw. He's swinging first and ask questions later. If you gonna win, you gonna win. But he gonna get off. He gonna crack that jaw. So, but we come from a different era than these kids do now. And it's wild, man. It is wild what these kids got to go through.
And the black guy hits him again, and the white guy shoots at him. Well, all of these Fox News people would be saying that was completely justified. All right. Austin began grabbing his chest and telling everyone to get help. Redacted advised he did not know Anthony's name, but stated another Memorial Trap member was friends with Anthony and that he could identify Anthony. So again, look at that. Somebody under the tent was friends with Anthony. So Karmelo was there. He was there with a friend, and it was raining. This Austin Metcalf dude seems like a bully that took it upon himself to remove somebody from the tent for no reason, probably because he was racist. But anyway, we continue. Redacted described Anthony as a black male, skinny with a goatee, short puffy hair, and wearing Sentinel High School clothing. This concluded my contact with Redacted. I was then instructed to start a crime scene log. I retrieved blah, 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 blah. So that's coming straight out of the mouth of somebody who was literally there and saw everything unfolded. Okay. Anyway, all of this happens, right? Anthony, he is arrested. He was charged. His bail is initially set, I think, to $1 million. They end up reducing it to $250,000. He makes bail, right? So he's been on house arrest for pretty much the last year, but not in jail. Now we fast forward. The trial begins yesterday, or the day before yesterday, rather, within the last 48 hours, the jury was selected. And here's where we're going to get to how these racists may have bitten off more than they can chew because they're getting too greedy. Instead of charging him with manslaughter, instead of charging him with second-degree murder, they were hungry. They were greedy for it. They wanted to.
See, even this brother right here acknowledged that, okay, you can't just go around, stabbing people and stuff like that. It may not, you probably should have just fought them. So even he acknowledged that, hey, they probably should have charged them with second-degree manslaughter, something like that. Everybody's acknowledging that, but the white folks in the chat, some are talking about, oh man, you're woke. Oh man, so it's okay to unalive somebody. Did anybody say that? Get some of that cow dung out your damn ear and listen. That's not what anybody's saying here, boy. Pay attention. They went too far charging this young man with first-degree murder. And if you don't agree with that, that's fine. Don't honky out. Damn.
Given first-degree murder, they pushed it a step further. They eliminated all potential black jurors from the jury. There is not a single black jury member that will be judging this case, right? Which is insane. They did that, and a lot of the white people are celebrating this because they're saying, oh, well. Look.
What's crazy, some of these white people don't know the law. Touch me and see what happens. It's called a legal defense. I know I used to train for the police. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Salute to you. Somebody said he won't get convicted of first degree. See, that's all I'm saying. Why can't we have conversations around that? These motherfuckers talk about woke and this and that. Man, stop doggone chimping out in my chat or honking out or whatever it is.
Look what happened to OJ. Yeah, well, let's look at the thousands of cases where black people in this country have not been given justice and were not tried fairly because there were no black people on that jury. See, this is how the white supremacist thinks. They think of one situation where things may have unfairly went in the favor of a black person, and so they want to never make things fair for black people again. they completely forget all the times things went unfairly for a black person because of the racism of white people, right? And so they're celebrating this. Well, take a listen to what this expert lawyer has to say on the matter. It's very interesting.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox, and we want to switch gears here and pivot to a case that has really grabbed the nation's attention here. I want to bring this post from Fox 4 News up on your screen here. This says, opening statements began Thursday in the murder trial of Frisco ISD students Karmelo Anthony after a jury with no black members was finalized following a contested selection process. So we want to bring you here what we know of the latest with this trial, as it will be going on to day 2 today, as opening statements began yesterday morning in the murder trial of the Frisco ISD student accused of fatally stabbing another student at a track.
Right. Yeah. Look at this. You know, this is the nastiness of the white supremacists. This is why they are their own downfall. They use Austin Metcalf's school picture. They use Karmelo Anthony's mugshot. Right. They could have used this image as well. Right. But of course not. They're racist. They hate him. They want him to rot in prison. But it's okay. Their own greed of evil is going to possibly be their own doing.
Me. Karmelo Anthony, now 19 years old, faces a murder charge in the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Police said Anthony...
Listen to just how he frames it.
...faces stabbing another... The murder trial of the Frisco ISD student accused of fatally stabbing another student at a track meet. Karmelo Anthony, now 19 years old, faces a murder charge in the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf.
See that? No, Austin would also be 19, sir. If you were... So what you should have said is Karmelo Anthony, who was charged and is being tried as an adult at the age of 17. He was charged at 17. Okay, he was being tried as an adult at 17. He's now 19. So they were both 17, but you see what they do. They're trying to say, make it a 19-year-old young man stabbed a 17-year-old boy. They were both 17. And Karmelo was far smaller and, surrounded by people who are being aggressive to him.
Police said Anthony and Metcalf got into an argument over seating in a stadium stands on April 2nd, 2025.
This is not true. They didn't get into an argument over seating. Austin was bullying Karmelo unnecessarily, trying to get him out of the tent to push him back out into the rain. Karmelo was there with a friend and wasn't bothering anyone. Not a single police report. You can read all the arrest reports. Not a single witness stated that this started because Karmelo was being a nuisance, because Karmelo was bothering people. If that's the case, then that would have been stated. Oh, he was getting loud and da-da-da.
And that's what makes it more unfortunate. That's what makes it worse. Like, it could have just been let go. It could have, okay, you have this rule that nobody sit in there, but do the rules state whoop his ass if he don't move? Like, that's all I'm saying. This all could have been avoided. And this is unfortunate. This young man, Metcalf, did not have to lose his life. And this young man, Anthony, didn't have to have his life put on hold and put on the line, because he fighting for his life in Texas with first-degree murder.
With these people, and that's when Austin just told him to leave. It never starts like that. It all starts with Karmelo was sitting down, possibly talking to his friend, possibly minding his own business, when Austin, a much larger person, took it upon himself to want to bully Karmelo out of the tent for no reason.
Which escalated when Anthony allegedly stabbed Metcalf in the chest.
Look at that. It escalated when Karmelo stabbed Metcalf in the chest. No, it doesn't. It escalated when Metcalf decided to physically assault Karmelo. This is how you...
Yeah, that framework of that was crazy. It escalated. No, it ended. When he stabbed him, it ended. It escalated when he put his hands on him. You don't put your hands on people. They always want to soften the blow when somebody else does something. No, you do not go around putting your hands on other people. Damn, whatever your rule is. If it's raining and I come up under your tent, that don't mean you get to put your hands on me. Have one of the administrators come tell me, no, you got to go. But you're not just going to throw me out. And that's all. That's crazy for them to word it like that. It escalated when he stabbed him. No, that looked like he ended it.
Get so many people that are misinformed in this situation, right? Oh, they were arguing over a seat and then Karmelo stabbed him with a knife. No, Karmelo was sitting down minding his business when he had to defend himself after being assaulted physically twice. Now, the question is, did Karmelo go too far? I think if there's any room for deliberation, that is the only room for deliberation. But it was self-defense. The moment you put your hands on me and I retaliate, I am acting in self-defense.
Pocket knife. The trial is expected to last approximately 2 weeks. If convicted, Anthony faces a maximum sentence of 5 to 99 years or life in a prison. Now, to talk more about this and to break down the latest of the case, we want to bring in Mark Astor, a criminal defense lawyer and former prosecutor, onto the program here. Mark, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So we heard opening statements yesterday. Anthony faces a murder charge and the defense is claiming self-defense. What evidence throughout this trial is going to be crucial, as we've already started to see some testimony yesterday from coaches? What evidence here is going to be crucial for the jury members?
Yeah, well, obviously, first and foremost, I think this is the only defense that, the defense has of self-defense. If you read the police report, it's right there in black and white. They're claiming self-defense. So,
and it was self-defense. Austin was assaulted Karmelo twice.
Obviously, the prosecutor is going to start bringing in eyewitnesses, people who saw this.
I like how he puts that. Oh, this is the only excuse he has. Let me put it like this. If Austin never decided to take it upon himself to assault Karmelo, he'd still be alive. Let's put it like that. Okay.
People who saw the defendant flee from the scene, so we'll have some of the other students, we might have some of the teachers, we're certainly going to get the law enforcement officers who were on scene. The police report indicates that at least one of them had contact with the defendant. Another one also found the alleged murder weapon. So those are the kinds of things that are going to be brought out. Obviously, if there's some surveillance video, that's going to be coming in too. So that's the state's case. Civilians, law enforcement, any surveillance videos, and probably maybe even somebody from the medical examiner's office to talk about the actual cause of death.
And for a self-defense case, what needs to happen to be able to prove that for self-defense, especially when it escalates to a point where somebody died?
Well, I think from the defense perspective, they're going to have to establish that the force that was used was reasonable under the circumstances. And they're going to have to say, look, our client faced potentially a deadly force or even something where he could be subjected to,
grave bodily harm. That's the other thing that.
Right. And then that's where the size difference is going to come into play. They're going to start talking about how much the other kid weighed and how big he was, because he did put his hands on him. Regardless of what people want to say, every witness that testified, even in the court records, they said that this young kid put his hands on this kid. That's assault, no matter how you want to slice it. Now, like the lawyer said, they got to know if the force was necessary. Did he meet the right requirements for force? Was he going to be pummeled to death by this bigger guy? And again, in some states that works, because if me and my size, if I attack a much smaller guy and he use a weapon, I'm unarmed. I don't have a weapon. But do you think a 5'6" guy is going to give a damn if if I don't have a weapon or not, if I attack them? No, they're going to look at me and they're going to look at my size and say, oh, hell no. And they're going to use deadly force.
These fuckers like to leave out. It's not just, did he think that he was about to die? This is misrepresenting the justification for using lethal force. You don't need to just think, oh, well, maybe he'll only beat me within an inch of my life. No, okay. If I have if I truly believe that you're about to hurt me in a very significant way, I'm a star athlete, I don't want you to fucking ruin my chances of, I'm talking to colleges, I don't want you to ruin my chances of going to fucking play Division I football, right? A serious injury. This is my senior year, right? A serious injury inflicted upon me because you're being a racist bully. That could fucking fuck me up. I want to protect myself, all right? And you're way too big for me to fight you. So what else am I supposed to do? I'm not saying this is exactly the justification or the argument that will be used. No, I'm just presenting to you that it does not require you have to only think that you're about to literally die, okay?
Bodily injury. So he had no choice. He was outnumbered. The victim was larger than him. There were lots of people in the room, and he felt as if he had no choice but to use deadly force in order to protect himself. The problem with that is that the defendant he went into the area where the victim was to be found. He allegedly had that knife with him when he went in.
Neither of those two things are illegal.
He dared the victim to touch him.
That's not true. We saw from the police reports, he did not tell him to touch him. He warned him that if he did touch him, something bad would happen to him. This is not being dared to touch him.
Push him. And the argument's going to be...
He didn't say, come on, how about you come and hit me? Yeah, hit me, push me. He didn't do that. He said, hey, touch me and see what happens, okay?
Yeah, that sounds like a dare. hit me. But me warning you saying, hey, look, man, I'm going to fuck you up if you hit me. That ain't daring you to do nothing. That's just telling you the outcome of what's going to happen if you do this. If you go past my boundaries and do this, then I'm going to do this. Sound like a warning to me.
To decide is that he provoked it. He went in there looking for a fight. He dared the victim to do.
Wow, he went in there looking for a fight. If that happened, you would think that Karmelo would have been the person to initiate contact and conversation with Austin. We see from the police reports that is not at all what happened. Karmelo was minding his own fucking business when Austin decided to bully him, and that's exactly what he did. He bullied him.
And he did, and he was ready and prepared for this.
But I love that this is the way this lawyer is speaking, because he's trying to pander to the racist, low IQ, white supremacists that watch Fox News. But even him, he can't deny the reality of the situation in regards to how the prosecution went way too far. in trying to ensure they get a guilty verdict, and how this may have now given Karmelo a get out of jail free card. It's amazing. Check this out.
He took a knife to a fist fight. That's not a fair fight. And you can't provoke a situation and then say, oh, not my fault. I was acting in self-defense.
The fact that he has to lie about the situation, though, this should give you encouragement in regards to how things will actually play out. See,
Yeah, I still don't like it wasn't no knife to no fist fight. He brought the knife, which he shouldn't have, but I don't think his intentions were to fight. If he's sitting down not bothering nobody, his intentions is not to fight. Now again, I would have never brought no damn knife to no school event. We're gonna throw them things. But again, I'm not 5 foot whatever, so I don't know the mindset of that kid. But I know right from wrong. And this goes out to any kid out there that's listening to me. Do not bring a weapon to a school event. It is not smart, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to use that weapon. And if you use that weapon where you are at, just location alone going to put you in the wrong. If he was at a restaurant, if he was somewhere else, then maybe it would have been a different story. But you're at a school event. Everybody's asking, why did he bring a weapon on school to a school event? Every parent in America is going to be thinking that, because they don't want their kid dealing with you bringing a weapon to school. So I think you're going to be on the wrong side of moms and fathers all across the world for bringing a weapon from the first place. And if he was being bullied, people are going to say, well, why didn't he tell the administrator? Why he ain't tell the teacher? Both of them should have told the administrators. I would have never brought no knife to school. And if you was bullying me, my brothers always told me to punch a bully straight in the face. You got to catch them off guard and just dope fiend them. Boom, and just go for what you know. Because the only way you get a bully to leave you alone is if they start respecting you. And how you respect them, you kick his ass. Stop listening to the new Kwame. So there's an old Kwame and a new Kwame? I'm confused. I'm so confused, but okay.
None of the things he said right now are true. He didn't dare Austin. He didn't provoke Austin. He didn't initiate contact with Austin. He didn't initiate physicality with Austin. None of these things are true. And so, but that's this narrative he has to paint to try and say, oh, well, here's why it's likely that he'll be found guilty, to try and appease the white supremacist watchers of Fox News.
And that's the dichotomy the jury's going to have to unpack in this case.
And then I also wanted to touch on the location of this as well, and where this happened.
Stop spreading lies, Kwame. It was not a knife. In the police report, it said it was a flip out pocket knife. I'm confused. So you're saying that the police report is wrong? Okay.
We've heard from some testimony yesterday about what this revolves around in this tent.
Saying that Austin or Karmelo having a knife in his bag was him going with the intent to hurt people is essentially accusing every person who is lawfully walking around with a firearm of having the intent to kill people if they're ever assaulted and put in a position where they feel like they have to use it in order to protect themselves.
Exactly. I'm like, what's the point of having gun laws and all this other stuff for you to legally carry if they're just going to turn around and say, you know what, the fact that you had that, it shows that you intended to hurt somebody. No, I have this to prevent anyone from hurting me. And if no one tries to hurt me, then no one will get hurt. Why isn't that the conversation? Why are they trying to make it seem like that just because you have something, that means you intended to do something with it? No, I go out my house every day with a knife, mace, all kind of shit. Y'all ain't never seen me use it. I ain't used my mace on nobody yet because I know how to de-escalate. I'll walk away more times than I will stay. Now, if it's somebody with me, if I'm with a female or something, and you disrespect her, I'm less likely to walk away. But you talking shit to me, I don't give a damn. Well, they didn't say kilt sharpener in the court, ma'am. So maybe you should go down and talk to the court system, since you live in North Dallas You don't need to be telling YouTubers that they spread lies. You need to go down to the courthouse and tell them that they spread lies.
That's what this lawyer is essentially arguing.
They're at this track meet. So we heard from a Memorial High School coach, Robert Starr, who took the stand, and he explained to jurors that a tent at a track competition typically, quote, marks your spot. He said it's similar to team bench for sports. So what this case involves escalating from a seat dispute that we're getting from a Fox 4 report, how could we see testimony from coaches and other athletes really affect this case? And when it comes to something like where this happened, especially when they're saying with this tent, that kind of almost in some way marks a territory.
This is bullshit. Anybody who's ever ran track knows that at track meets, it is very normal for people to mix and mingle amongst each other. You're running for like 2% of the time you're at a track meet. The majority of the time spent at track meets are conversing with.
Look here, when they made me ran track that one time, well, I ain't never run track. We had like a field day event, so I don't know if that's the same. But I'm going to talk to the girls in every tent. I don't give a damn what you say. If it's females out there, I'm going to the other tents. And you better not ball a block. Or else we gonna throw them things. But I'm not sitting in our tent. I might not like the girls on our track team. I'm trying to get y'all girls off y'all track team. Shit. It's not assault, it's battery. It's putting your hands on somebody though. And you don't supposed to do that.
Other people from other schools as an opportunity to hang out with your friends. As we saw, Karmelo had a friend that was under the memorial tent. And so this is absolute bullshit coming from fucking a bunch of nerds who never ran track in your life.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, we have two high schools that are potential rivals, and you've got the defendants going into the victim space. That tent area it's almost like it's a little bit of a house, right? You know, this is our home. You don't come into our home. And if you do, we have a right to protect that space. And according to the police report, the victim in the case said, hey,
okay, so you have a right to assault people if this is bullshit. This is not true.
Shouldn't be here. You need to leave, right? This is our space. Go to yours. And that's when, you know, this incident started to escalate because the defendant didn't want to leave.
And now jurors were also shown great.
Yeah, and so that's why if you as a student really feel so passionately about this, again, remember you had a friend there. But, you know, besides that, go and talk to a coach. Go and talk to a teacher. Don't bully people. You don't have a right to put your hand.
And that's what I said. Okay, you don't want the kid there. You could be mad. You could be spitting mad. You could say, mother effer, get up out of here now. And they could say, no, I'm not leaving. The very next step is you go get somebody of authority. You go get an administrator. You go get the resource officer. You don't put your hands on nobody because if you touch one kid, it's going to be a fight. And nowadays, these kids are bringing weapons to school. I tell my son, don't put his hand on nobody unless you're willing to take it there because you don't know how that other person is going to react. You really don't.
Hands on people.
Any surveillance video of what happened? It's from a camera.
See, it's so crazy. All of these people, Austin was chimping out, right? Isn't that what fucking Chud the Builder would say? Austin Metcalf chimped out, right? He couldn't use his words. He had to get physical, right? He couldn't go to the appropriate authorities.
Ooh, they ain't gonna like that. They saying that Austin Metcalf chipped out. They ain't gonna like that. Because, yeah, they tell us you supposed to sit there and let somebody call you the N-word. You ain't supposed to touch him. So why does he want to touch somebody over a damn tent? That ain't your tent. You control yourself. Don't touch nobody. Go get the proper authorities. Go get the proper people that can get him up out of there. They think, oh, well, now we're going to get him up out of here because he ain't supposed to be in our tent. No. You still don't have a right to touch nobody. So they both in the wrong. You shouldn't have had no knife at that event. And you shouldn't have put your hands on that person.
Right, he chimped out and look what happened to him. So let's dive into the part where the lawyer explains how the prosecution, they truly fucked up by excluding black people completely from the jury. Check this out.
Then I wanted to talk about that jury selection as well, as there's been some controversy about that, as well as there being no black jury members on this trial. So can you explain to me the controversy behind that and how important jury selection is to a case? Can it really define its outcome here?
Yeah, jury selection is everything. If you can get the right jurors for your, who are hopefully going to see the case your way as a prosecutor, you're golden. But don't forget, you need 12 people on that jury who are going to find that you met your burden of proof. As the defense, I only need one person to say, hold on a second, this was a self-defense case, and my client potentially gets an acquittal. So there's the dichotomy in the jury selection. Now, the jury is supposed to reflect the community. It's supposed to be a jury of the defendant's peers.
Right.
And I think from the defense perspective, they potentially have a get out of jail free card here. And as a prosecutor, as a former prosecutor, I cannot believe the prosecution actually made this mistake to exclude all of the African-American jurors, knowing you had an African-American defendant, knowing that you had a bunch of people outside the courthouse who feel that they're not, that their community, the African-American community, is not going to get a fair trial. I think it's a big mistake.
Huge mistake.
You got to remember, as a prosecutor, you're not there just to
I think that's a mistake too, because even if they get a conviction, it's going to give the optics that he was prosecuted based on his color by an all-white jury. And if y'all know anything about jury duty, my black ass, I ain't trying to get on jury duty. So, and a lot of black folks never want to get on jury duty, but they was honestly trying to go and help this kid. They were trying to get on this jury. I don't know if they were going to help him, but they were trying to, make it, a jury of his peers and not just an all-white jury. And, but they made sure not one black or brown person. This looked like a lynching. And that's what they're going to start saying in the news. That's going to be grounds for tearing up the streets. So I think that was a mistake.
Your job is to make sure that the defendant gets a fair trial.
That's right.
And I honestly think if there's a conviction here, I think the appellate court is going to take a very hard look at this and potentially reverse this. This is a serious mistake by the prosecution. And jury selection.
Now listen to this fucking guy. He don't even really look full white. He probably a tap dancer too. Listen to how he starts to stutter because he wasn't prepared for this. He wasn't prepared for this truth bomb.
Selection is one of the ways that an appellate court will reverse a conviction. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But if I was prosecutor, I would never have done this. It's a mistake, and I think this is going to come back and haunt them.
And that you actually took the next question right from me. If we could see an appeal from this because he doesn't feel.
Listen to bro can't even get his words together because everybody who comes on Fox News, it's a propaganda news channel, right? They lie, they misrepresent things, all to pander to misinformed, lowly educated, racist white people. And so he just was not, especially, you remember the entire first portion of this interview, this attorney is saying all the things to appeal to the Fox News base, but this is a beautiful thing. And I know this firsthand because I know a white person who is in the field of medicine, highly educated, right? Lots of experience in the field of medicine, but they're conservative.
He said they made this a mistake on purpose. That's another way to look at it because maybe they knew they overreached with this damn first degree murder. He get a acquittal or appeal. They bring him back to court and they charge him with manslaughter, and they probably could get something like that. They could probably get manslaughter on him.
Right? They're Christian conservative. But when asked about vaccines, I asked them about vaccines, even though they're all the way on that side of the fence, they still had to admit that vaccines are safe and that they are a net positive for society, even though that person more than likely voted for Donald Trump. Why am I saying this is why they are demonizing people like Charlie Kirk, who was a domestic terrorist. This is why they demonize university. It's because that good education, it just undoes so many of the conservative talking points. The university is a breeding ground for progressivism because progressivism is synonymous with intellectualism. It is synonymous with being properly informed. And so here, his expertise and his education is overriding the desire to pander. He just can't bring himself to lie, right? Because he's an expert and he's like, listen, this was a bad decision.
Like he is represented by his peers.
Yeah, I mean, how can he? I mean, he's an African-American young man in an African-American community, and he has no African-American jurors to decide his fate. How can that possibly be fair?
Right.
Now, to the prosecutor.
And again, all you have to do, this is the thing that racist people are incapable of doing. All you have to do is flip it. Imagine if all of the...
Man, I think they're going to convict him and he's going to get an appeal. Because that to me don't make no sense to do that, though. I'm like, boy, these people outside going crazy. And then they tell them like, oh my God, look how black folks can't control themselves. I'm like, why are you setting it up in their face this much though? Like you showing them that you really don't give a fuck about what they saying. Like you got it right in their face that you don't. Like that's crazy.
The members on the jury were black. Imagine there were no white people on this jury. You know, the white people would be fucking so mad. The white people who are, Fox News fans, they would be so mad. They would believe, oh, this is outrageous. This is so unfair. Not a single white person, but no black people. Oh, well, I think that's perfectly fair. I think that's the only way we can.
Teachers on the panel, right? And when you do that once, okay, sounds okay. When you do it twice, maybe. But you start.
You said the attorney is an idiot? This person you listen to, Kwame, is an idiot. The attorney is an idiot? I don't think the attorney is an idiot.
Not doing it 3 times and 4 times, you're like, hold on a second, there's a pattern here. And it's the pattern of striking those African-American jurors that I think is going to come back and bite the prosecution, in the proverbial backside. I really do. And I think the appellate court's going to find a problem with this.
Right.
And there was, I'm reading some of these other
he just goes on to stutter and say a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. He said black guys wouldn't say nothing if it was black on black. I say something, so I don't necessarily say that's true. I say something all the time. And I'm black out here. I believe he's saying the content creator's an idiot. Oh, that's what's up. I'm just acting like I don't know what he's saying. He gonna check me some more because of that. He probably put it in there 10 more times. Kwame, I was talking to you. Kwame, I was talking to you. I'm an idiot because he don't agree that I think they should have charged him with a lesser charge than first-degree murder. That makes me an idiot. What's up, Terry?
All right, I gotta do some corrections, man, because I forgot how they did murder in Texas. It's not considered like they do murder and capital murder. It's not there's no more like manslaughter. There's no more involuntary manslaughter, second degree and stuff. So what's just like the situation where that female cop that ended up unaliving that dude at the apartment. She got charged with murder, but it was considered like involuntary manslaughter. But it was like the sentencing phase. That's how they do it. So there's capital murder and murder in Texas law. So when you see in first degree, that's the type of felony he's getting charged with. So with that being said, what's gonna hurt him is probably 3 things. Number 1, Austin had to know him out of all the other people. He had to know them. There's no reason for him to go and just go to this dude and say, "Get out of my tent." There has to be some type of, because usually if somebody they don't know that's in the tent, they're gonna go and talk to somebody, the coach or whatever, to get them up out of there. They don't know who this person is. They're not engaging with that. No high school is gonna engage with some random person in your tent, unless the dude's doing something untoward somebody else. There's got to be some type of action there. So they saying Austin just went up to him and started saying this. There got to be some type of relationship in that. Something's missing out of this whole thing, man. Then on top of that is the law that that helps say that you can't bring weapons to a school event. It's 46 dash 3. It's Texas Penal Code. I could give you the link in the back check right now. It's clear as day, and that means any sport events with if you got school stuff on anything, no matter where the property at and everything. If it's a school event where high schools and where they say UIL, it's not called UIL. That's the Scholastic League thing for that's our body for the whole high school football, high school athletics in general. So what I'm saying is, you cannot have the blade in there at all. That's gonna get him convicted right there, just because of how we do murder in Texas. So there's no, like I said, first degree.
Okay, so y'all don't have manslaughter, because if he was in a different place or Georgia or something like that, they can give him a lesser charge to account for having that blade and account for maybe him pushing him or whatever, not meeting enough force or requirement of force to be stabbed.
Murder's under any, if whatever you do in that fight that triggers somebody dying, that's considered murder. Now, if you're doing a crime and somebody died, that's considered capital murder. That's how it works in Texas.
Even if you're defending yourself.
Even if you defend yourself, because when it comes to defending yourself, that's what will happen with that is they're gonna look at reasonable use of force. They're gonna be looking at, okay, did you try to de-escalate the situation? Did you try to do? They're gonna look at all the little factors in that. That's when we talking about the factors and that stuff. So the fact that he already broke the law with the blade on his persons is gonna hurt him in that case.
So, so I guess my question is: so why are people pretending like putting your hands on somebody and assaulting someone isn't a crime? Like everybody brushing past that part, like, oh, he just went over there, and like that's a crime. So in the
I agree.
commission,
And look, I agree with all that. But what I'm saying is the fact that Austin had to know him. We need to really just finish this case. Let the whole case play out. Austin had, you cannot tell me Austin didn't know, he either know him or knew he had, like, if he had like the school stuff on and they got issues with that school. Like, for example, I'm from the east side of Fort Worth, same area Brandon Tatum from, right? Dunbar.
oh wow, wow.
Yeah, we from the same area. Like, look, Bobby Tatum I used to work out with Bobby Tatum. We played football together. Hey, Bobby Tatum played for UT back in the day.
Yeah, Brandon Tatum was a college athlete.
Yeah, Bobby Tatum is his older brother.
Yep.
I know the Tatums. Trust me on this.
Yeah.
So and Tatum came a long way. Y'all seen that the Tatum in high school compared to this Tatum? He totally different person. That's another story. But like it was a situation we had with Poly is one of our high school's biggest issue because that was the gang stuff, Bloods and Crips. That was gang stuff back then. So it was a situation where some Poly dudes went on our side doing a basketball game. We had like crazy basketball games. Coach Hughes, if you know anything about high school, like legendary coaches, Coach Hughes was the coach of our high school, whatever. Long story short, some of them Poly dudes went over there and slapped a rival dude, like just slapped him, rival gang member situation, right? And they end up having to fight and everything. Now, if that dude would have died or something would have happened to him, that would be considered murder right there. Or if the dude would have did something to him, that would have back then it would have been manslaughter, but that would have been a situation. But like nobody would talk about this. That happens a lot in Texas where rivals, especially in the hood, especially like Dallas and Carter, Kimball, and Madison, auto stuff. Like if Answer in here, he could vouch for that shit. Hey, that went on, especially in football games. This is unusual in track though, because like usually everybody's pretty much chilling in track. The emotion's not gonna be too high. Everybody, if you know everything going on in track, like everybody's on one stand. So this never been a big issue. Again, they had to have smoke before this. It just can't be like, hey, he just picked this one dude out. Go ahead.
So salute to everybody on here. Salute KB, man. Fair and balanced as usual, bro. One day some people love you, one day the other people hate you. But hey, so I'm just bringing it from the perspective of knowing what happens. First of all, it's more than likely it was a district track meet because it happened in April. Most track events happen in April, and it was a district meet. It was a school sanctioned event because you cannot wear your logos for your school at AAU events. Only idiots don't know that. Now, if you are aware of that and you understand that, you cannot have a weapon at a school event. Anytime a student goes and participates at an event and they are wearing their school uniform, they are a representation and an extension of that school. If that student does something at that event that makes the school look bad, that student can get suspended by their school. So it was a school event. I don't think Carmelo Anthony should have been able to walk for his graduation because of that event. He brought a knife to a school event. Let's make that very clear. I'm sorry, that blade object. So
it was
I just
nice.
want I don't like his own
It
testimony.
meets the definition of a knife, bro. Like I know people got the situation, the technicalities of it.
That actually hurts that dude's case too, man. They don't get that shit.
I don't see. I
It's
don't
got a
think
handle and a
anybody.
blade. It's a
I don't
damn
think
knife.
anybody's excusing the fact that he brought a knife. No one. We all know that he
Yeah,
was
his
a
own testimony stated that it was a knife.
Yeah.
But the most important thing too is, if nothing else, this is a manslaughter case because the Austin Metcalf was the aggressor. So if he was the aggressor, then that is clear that it was a manslaughter case.
I don't even think it would be. I mean, that it would be a better chance of it being manslaughter over murder, but I don't even think they would get manslaughter.
Oh yeah, manslaughter is let's say you ran over somebody. That's what they consider manslaughter in Texas. It's not necessarily
They have manslaughter though. I googled it and it's
Yeah.
right there. I think they should charge him with that or
Yeah.
second degree or something
Yeah,
because
that
I don't believe that he had the intent to hurt nobody. I have weapons all the time because I don't want nobody fucking with me. But as you can see, I come back home every day. Hadn't been on Sports Center because ain't nobody fuck with me. And there's been times where somebody, showed up at a restaurant. I talked about it, and we just kind of walked away, maneuvered around the
Right.
situation, and ain't nobody bother us, and we ain't bother them. If I got a chance to leave because I know how the laws say one thing, but they'll still. I don't got time to be sitting in nobody's jail cell for 2 years to be figuring out whether I'm innocent or guilty. So
that part.
if I can move around, I'll move around. But if you force me into a situation, then it is what it is.
Exactly, and that's my thing. Like you could, I mean, it's okay, cool. He in the tent, he ain't supposed to be there. I mean, it's pouring down rain. Oh, but you could have just, hey, bro, why don't you leave? Okay, you know what I'm saying? Or like, why are you here? What's going on? What's the situation? All right, cool, man. You can sit, but like, you gotta leave after a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, work it out like that. And even if you still don't leave, I mean, there's no reason to put your hands on them. All right, bro, whatever. All right, cool. All right, you got it. Sit there. And then, like, what does that hurt? What's the harm in that? Sometimes when people are being a little bit crazy, you got to be the bigger person and have a level head and be like, all right, man, is this a big problem or a small problem? Because, I mean, really, it's a seat in a tent. Who cares? And he on the other side of the tent. He ain't bothering nobody. He ain't saying nothing to nobody. He not offending nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what are we doing?
And that's why I agree with Taryn. Like they had to must known each other because I would have been like, you know what, you need to get out of the tent. But if they didn't leave, I'm not gonna beat you up over no fucking seat in no tent. Like you saying, I'd be like, all right, man, fuck it. But damn, I just don't understand. One kid lost his life, another kid fighting for his life over sitting in a damn tent.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll give you a scenario. Like I'll be 100% with Karmelo if this would have went down. Let's say he would have that dude would have didn't know him and he's like, hey, you need to get away from here and stuff. And do like, of course you're gonna have a reaction like, what the fuck you talking about? You're gonna look at him like, what's going on? But then he said again, I said, all right, bet. Let me go and move around. Then if dude would have followed him and Austin would have let him, push him and try to do all that stuff. Okay, Austin, you 100%. I'm on your side. Now you might gonna get a little bit of time just with having a knife and everything on you at that school thing. But hey, I get it. Blah blah blah. Hey, you try to leave, you try to de-escalate. He kept following you. He was with the nonsense because that does happen. That happens a lot in the hood. It happens a lot. We gotta be 100 with it. Because like a lot of times, you're like, all right, hey, I didn't know y'all like that. Let me go and move around. Nah, man, I like them J's. Oh man, I like this. I like that. Let me see what you got in your backpack. That type of time will happen in the hood. Nobody will talk about that though. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, but I mean, but just in kind, I mean, you can say that, but then again, you can't say it because just in kind, if you saying Karmelo could have walked away, Austin could have easily went back and sat down in his seat. And
that too.
So it's an unfortunate situation, but it just
we just have to understand we gotta be wrong.
Yeah, but that's why we need to see the footage because once that footage come out, we can see whether he was jumped because that changes everything.
Yeah,
like self-defense can change at the drop of a dime.
But they not gonna do that. See, they're trying to push a narrative like Kwame was saying earlier. They're trying to make Karmelo look a certain way.
Yeah.
And they know if they put that video out there and everything, and they see Austin doing what he's doing, they see him getting up going towards Austin, then it kills that narrative.
Time out.
You know
do we know that they didn't admit the video and the evidence? Do we not know that?
They did, but they didn't. I'm saying
like, yeah, but we didn't see it.
Normally, like with Ahmaud Arbery and whatever, they release them videos right away. You know what I'm saying? Any other case, if they have video, they release that stuff right away. They purposely did not release that because of everything that they're saying and the narrative that they're pushing. It's not consistent with the narrative that Karmelo is a troublemaker. He went under the tent looking for trouble. He went under the tent to intend to harm somebody.
It gives a different.
It's not consistent with that. That's
Everybody
why they didn't show it.
Everybody got to understand self-defense, man. It could change in an instance. depending on who's got the advantage.
And hold on. Not to cut you off, but isn't Texas to stand your ground?
Yeah.
KB, I put the penal for the knife thing in the back chat. If you put that up, man, so everybody understand exactly why this was an issue. You know what I mean? Like the knife thing was an issue.
The problem with him that he's gonna have is that if you had that knife in your bag, like if you had that whatever substance he used, that's gonna be a problem because now they could say, hey, you were looking for trouble, like you ain't even supposed to be here, and then on top of that, you bring a knife. So then they could say that, but if the dude put it like, let's say he got jumped, man, it's a different ball game then.
Yeah, he got jumped.
Well, that's the same as saying so people like Kwame said earlier. People do carry stuff, and people do take knives, guns in places that they're not supposed to take them. They do that all the time. And the last time, in any case like this, when is the last time they ever? It's like with Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse was a minor, 17 years old. Wasn't he supposed to have a doggone gun? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't, and he got. I think it's called I don't know what agreement that was, but he bought somebody else bought the gun for him, and he wasn't supposed to touch that gun until he was 18. But he got the gun anyway.
No. Different states. Hold on. Different states got different laws now. Like you can have a long gun. That means a rifle and stuff.
Yes.
You can't have that in some state. I know Texas is like that. Like if it gotta be you can't go out there and be carrying and everything like that. But you are legally allowed to have a long gun. Like if this is for hunting purposes and stuff like that. Like I said, it's you gotta know the law. Everybody want to paint the law in one little color. It's different in every state. That's why we got the 10th Amendment. Was the 10th Amendment? Yeah, 10th Amendment. I mean, states got different laws, man. It's just what it is.
There's political bias too, that people.
I'm from Cleveland. I'm from Ohio, and Milwaukee ain't too far from me. But it clearly states
well, man, that's not true, by the way. But go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? He wasn't supposed to touch that gun until he was 18. That's what the agreement was when someone else bought it for him. He wasn't supposed to have it at all. He could legally, it would have been his once he turned 18, but he was 17. So he took that gun and went to a riot of all things. Not to say he was looking for trouble, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? So normally, it's a with Karmelo, it would be a possession charge if he wasn't supposed to have a knife. But you know what I'm saying? But that does not negate stand your ground. Just because he had the knife don't make everything he did
There's
wrong.
rules to stand your ground though.
Yeah,
that's you can't because this the thing though, right? Like if you have the higher responsibility, the person with the deadly weapon, right? So if the dude push you, you can't just stab him, right? We all know you're supposed to fight him back, right? Get into a physical altercation. So you kind of escalated everything, even though he escalated it by pushing you. You went and overdid him. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is that you have to flee. They're gonna ask, "Hey, did you try to leave? Did you try to look for an exit? Did you try to call somebody? Did you try to get somebody who, runs the events or the principal, whatever the case may be, right?"
When you're on school property, all those rules, the stand your ground rules is very flimsy when you're on school property or school events, man. That's just
it can change, man. It can change. Don't think that's gonna save you. I'm telling you.
But is this a normal case though? Because you're looking at a guy man, Austin Metcalf is massive to be a child. The man is 6'2", 230. That's small enough. That's big enough to be a power forward in the NBA. That's Mike Tyson was world champion when he was 215. Mike Tyson. So he big enough to be the champion of the world. And you got this guy in Karmelo who's 5'7". And 130, like that's not a normal hand to hand. Austin ain't got no chance with that, bro. It's a reason why
and they're gonna consider
why we got weight classes in boxing. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason there's weight classes in boxing because at that, putting on gloves and being 130, you are never gonna hurt somebody as big as Austin. You feel what I'm saying? It's a major mismatch. You know,
what hurts Karmelo?
If this guy's cornering you and not give you the chance to you can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't always just leave and just run. You've been in the fight before. You can't just run all the time, bro.
That's
all right. So if that was the case, we'll have evidence saying that, hey, let me leave. Y'all got it. Let me leave. Then if he would have cornered him, then people have been saying, hey, he cornered him. He didn't have no choice. He would did this. He would did that. We don't have that evidence to say that. Number one. Number two. Austin to go direct beeline directly to him, that tells me again that they had some type of knowledge of each other. Because, like I said, a lot of people are not confrontational by just be confrontational. That's a rarity, especially if you're an athlete, knowing that hey, you got something going on in your life and everything. You're not trying to be confrontational unless there's either an issue going on up there, like Karmelo over here talking shit. Let's call it if it's high schools, it's keep it a buck. You're a rival school, you going to go over there, talking shit to the other school. That happens a lot.
Well, but
You
Taryn,
got
the
time.
testimony was showing that that Carmelo knew somebody in that tent, like he was chopping up with somebody in that tent.
Yeah.
Then what were they? Here's the thing: were they egging people on? We need to hear witness testimony on like legit on the stand, getting scrutinized by the prosecution defense testimony on that.
But even with the witnesses, though, you gotta be careful with that because the
Yeah.
witnesses, like if you look at it, if that's their tent, you know what I'm saying? Like if that's their homeboys,
That's
and
true.
you gotta be careful with that.
That's
I take
true.
that with a grain of salt.
Absolutely, but my thing is, even with all that being said, like, okay, cool, like, because even when they testified yesterday, they even said Carmelo was just under there chilling with his boy.
Yeah,
He didn't
yeah.
bother nobody. He was sitting down. He wasn't up, and he wasn't sitting down. I guess Austin was offended. Austin got offended, and then you saying people aren't just troublemakers, man. I don't want to make nobody mad with this. I don't know what your affiliation is, but like Dream, if you ever listen to the guy Dreamers Pro, you know what I'm saying? I don't mean to promote nobody else on somebody's channel, but he made a real good point that now that we all know who's in office and we all know how he makes things look sometime and how he moves and how he can he can make himself kind of look like a bully. And when you get a person like that in a what, like everybody is just out here you got these character builder guys that go around antagonizing people. You got all these people, they feel empowered to go do that. So there's a lot of
But
troublemaking in the world.
Hey,
but to
Chud
be
down the
but
street
to
for me.
This
Like
happened
he
on
but
Biden,
literally
by the
down
way.
the street from me, bro.
but to be
This happened.
respectful of but
This
to be
happened on
respectful
Biden. This
about
happened on
hold
Biden's
on one
situation.
second, T.
My bad.
You all right, bro. But to be respectful about that, that this type of stuff didn't happen 4 years ago. It didn't happen even 8 years ago. We're talking about something that actually happened under the Bill Clinton era with the O.J. Simpson trial or the Michael Jackson high-profile cases. So, I think anybody who brings it up as well, look at the top person, is that's I don't agree with that approach. But the reality is, I think both young boys were wrong in this situation
Yeah, absolutely.
because
Big facts.
Austin Metcalf definitely was not in a position of authority
Right.
to eject somebody from their tent. Look, if you guys have ever been to a track event before, especially a district run one like this one probably was, there are literally probably 60 to 70 different coaches throughout there. There
Thanks.
are probably about 40 to 50 track officials out there. Austin Metcalf should have gotten his coach. That is the number one bottom line priority. It was not his position or
Yeah.
his place to even aggress Carmelo Anthony. So he was wrong in that. Carmelo Anthony should have never brought a knife into that event. And Carmelo Anthony's team had their own tent, and if they did not, then he
That's
should have
not
respected if they did not, he should have respected the space of the other teams because those teams do keep personal items there. That's their personal space. But the problem with that is all throughout track events, other kids sit on the other kids' tents all the
Yes.
time.
all the
But
time.
but let's not lose the fact that a young 17, 18-year-old did lose their life, and we're losing that humanity when I hear
Mm-hmm.
people brag or say, "Oh, well, don't put your hands on somebody," which I agree to that. But remember, this was a 17-year-old ignorant kid who overstepped himself. But then it was also another 17-year-old ignorant
Yeah.
kid who
Dude,
took out an object and could have handled it different as well. This is a tragedy, and
Yeah, I
I
agree with
think
that.
people like the SPLC and groups like that who are gutter trash, they use these type of tragedies to draw the worst type of division. I
Absolutely.
pray for the Metcalf family and I pray
man,
for the Anthony family because it
ab-
seemed like two good kids, seemingly because they didn't have arrest records, have had their lives forever changed because of this, and it's unfortunate.
I'm on your side with it, Mel, because I was saying the same thing in the chat. It's like I think people are using their own political biases to push a narrative on stuff that we don't even have the film footage for right now. So it's like we don't all know all the details. We know some of the details, right? And this is stuff we'll find out later on. But we got to be careful not to put our own twist and spin on shit when it probably could be a stupid situation with two young kids who did stupid shit on a bad day. You know what I mean?
I only brought that up because of the simple fact that, like you said, people using their political views to push narratives.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but for over the past year, they have been pushing a narrative on Carmelo Anthony, man. They have.
They have. It's unfortunate that they have, but we do got to keep in mind, because I agree with Mel, and that's what I was saying before. When I was in high school, we had this same situation happen where a kid played football. He went to a party. He was at a party though. He brought a knife to the party. He was getting jumped by 3 people, and he stabbed like 2 of them, and 1 of them died. And I think he did maybe 8 years.
He got off easy.
Even you're not going to go free because 1, he wasn't supposed to have a knife in the club. 2, they said he could have ran or something, and then he stabbed the dude like 2 times. So it's all kind of things when you pull out a weapon and use it against somebody that you would think that because you're getting jumped and you think you're safe, is normally you're not. You know what I mean?
So let me add on something real quick. I don't want to be long-winded with y'all brothers, but this goes to the point what KB just said exactly. So here in the state of Florida, most of you guys know what I do. Not exactly what I do, but what I'm in, what profession I'm in. So here in the state of Florida,
what do you do?
He's a teacher. He's a teacher. He's a teacher.
So when people argue with me in the chat about I don't know what I'm talking about, it's crazy. fake ass teacher that. But so here in the Florida statute in education specifically states about whenever there's a fight in a school, it is whenever a person gets into an altercation. If a person initiates the altercation and the other person doesn't fight back, it's an assault. But when the other person, even if the other person fights back and they are just defending themselves, then it becomes coded as a fight. And that means both parties are going to have some levy of responsibility to it. So unless Carmelo Anthony just took off running and covered his head and whatever, when he reacted, then he's going to get some type of a consequence. So that's why I'm sticking to the idea, and I think Paul brought it up well, that this is a manslaughter issue. It's not a first degree issue. It's not a second degree. I don't know how Texas works, whether or not they say you have to declare what degree you're going to charge someone with.
No.
Because I know here
I
in Florida.
explained it
Oh,
earlier.
go ahead.
I explained earlier. It's murder, capital murder, and manslaughter. Manslaughter usually doing with like just like either it's criminal negligence, like you hold on, you and KB, you had a pen up a while ago, but
does
like
the
that's really dealing with murder. That deals with stuff like accidents and stuff like that. But like
No,
murder,
I
like
get
in this case,
that, but does the prosecution have to declare what they're going to charge
They just
somebody with?
declare,
That's what George.
murder.
That's why George Zimmerman got off in Florida, was because the prosecution declared first degree murder when he didn't commit first degree murder. They should have went for second degree. So that's why I said I didn't know if Texas does that or
So
not.
Texas, we fix our situation. We just did. Anytime you do something with deadly force, and you active participant, yeah, you're gonna get murdered. Now the degree of what they do the degrees with the sentencing. Like for example, old girl that remember she thought she was going to her apartment, but ended up going to the wrong apartment and unlocking the brother in there. He had his door unlocked and she went through the door and thought that was her apartment. That was the intruder, the cop. Remember that story?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave her murder, but they gave her like what 10, 15 years. So basically 8 to 9. I mean, she eligible for parole like 8 to 9 years, something like that. That's what they gave her because it was actually an accident, but she did use deadly force. You see how that worked?
Yeah, I think that's different though.
Yeah, I got you.
But that's how they do it in Texas. Like this case is this going more like in other states they probably be doing second degree murder or voluntary manslaughter in some places, right? So he will probably he'll be getting convicted on that because he was an active participant in the situation. That's what they're gonna say.
They're gonna say
The
Carmelo was
only way. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was just asking. They're gonna say Carmelo was an active participant.
Yes, because if people telling you need to leave, and you're not leaving, you made yourself an active participant.
Not only that, but if they could prove that, yo, he actually stood up to him,
Mm-hmm.
like and wanted to fight, and then you pull out a knife, then
Yeah.
that's gonna be trouble too.
And then if you come out like these knuckleheads talking about that's not a knife, that's this. He stole a track equipment to go up, then went over there. That look like premeditation, like a motherfucker right there.
No,
You
he
know what I
could
mean?
he could have.
That's
I
what I
mean, he
said. These people ain't helping.
for days. It ain't hard. It's not hard to come up on a knife, man. You can get a knife from the doggone gas station, and that
But
type of knife.
no, but
Yeah.
what they were saying, you gotta understand what they were saying. I get what you're saying. What they were saying is he didn't have a knife. He had a track equipment over there.
Utility tool that had a knife on.
Yeah, but it's a it's a blade with a handle.
Yeah, man.
It's a knife, man.
Man, I work at a school, bro. Man, kids they carry stuff on. They do kids do crazy stuff. Hey, locks.
That's
They
true.
things. That's what they do. That don't mean they're
I
gonna
used to
shoot.
carry a knife on campus. I wasn't trying to kill nobody. I just wanted to protect myself. You know,
Exactly.
But
so
bros, listen, you can't have brass knuckles. You can't
yeah,
have mace. You
yeah, I
can't
know.
even have kids get OS or out of school suspension just for having mace on them. So
Yeah,
that's why I said when some people are like, "Oh well, the white kids have guns." No, they don't. They're not supposed. If your
You
kid
breaking up. You
is at a
breaking up.
school where kids are walking around with knives and guns, you need supposed to happen. And like I said, this was a school event, and Carmelo should not have had a knife at the school event where he was representing his school and violated whatever that district or the state policy is for high school events. And it's a tragedy either way.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I would never excuse.
Let me throw this at y'all. What do y'all think about how they're reacting to this, and the kid responding in a way from being touched, opposed to them wanting to say the N word and us supposed to not react and not touch?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
Hey,
double
hey,
standard. Where we are. That's the double standard.
can I get this one real quick? Cause Chud down the street from me. Like he in jail. He in jail right down the street. Man, bro,
You
I
hear
had a
somebody
conversation.
screaming from the jailhouse?
Bruh, I had a conversation with my wife about this shit because, like, I didn't even know who the fuck this dude was till I was watching Kwame's videos. Then they said where he was located. I said, damn, he right down the street. And then when he went to jail, he's actually literally right around the corner. So I could go visit Chud if I wanted to. But anyways, I had a conversation with her about my kids, about if we come in contact with this fool. And he's walking around, what he's doing is real asshole shit because you're walking around antagonizing people, talking shit to them, daring them to do something. And then when they do, then you want to buck up and use a weapon. You see
They
what I'm
didn't,
saying?
hey, they didn't use the word he was daring one time. They said it was freedom of speech.
Nah, because
But
you're
with,
inciting,
with this brother, with Anthony, they're saying he dared them to touch him, provoke them. But they
Nah,
never
that's
used
good.
the word provoke with Chud the Builder. They always said he was using freedom of speech.
Man, will you tell another grown man you ain't gonna do shit? And then you proceed to say, hey man, you proceed to use racial slurs towards somebody, and you be like, man, you ain't gonna do shit. You got your kids there, you got your family around, and this dude talking to you like you nothing. Yeah, that's a fight down here. And it's
What's
legal.
going on,
It's
guys?
legal because notice the guy didn't get in trouble. The black dude didn't get in trouble because it's actually in law. It's legal. If you talk that shit, you'll get your ass kicked, and
Yeah,
it's
some
okay.
some states got provoke laws. Like if you provoke somebody, that's a mutual combat type shit.
And
Yeah.
Chud dumbass didn't know that.
You
So
gotta know
That's
every state you go to, you gotta know the law and to the point. You know what I mean?
What's going?
exactly.
Good afternoon.
How you doing, Eric?
What's up? What's
So how you
up?
doing, Shamika?
And hey, can I say something about the case? I had watched that video Kwame just played this night with the dude with the braids. I forgot his name.
Karmelo.
What a lawyer was talking about. The prosecution messed up because they did an all-white jury with no black people on the stand. So let's just say worst case scenario, he gets convicted. They're gonna use them 3 strikes against that prosecutor to do like a retrial and dismiss the old case. So I forgot about that part.
But doesn't that put pressure on the jury to get it right the first time? Because you can't just, I mean, even though the jury, it's in the jury's hands, you still got to go by the laws.
Yeah, I'm saying though, but if he get found guilty, they're gonna say they can. It'll be easy to appeal it because it's not a jury of it, not even one person in his peer group. And the fact that they struck 3 black people down, they just kept on strike. It looked like an intent. It was the intent to get this guy, young boy, convicted no matter what. That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing. Why didn't the defense try to keep a black person on there? Why
No,
nobody talking about that
That's what I
part?
don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
What we
know.
doing?
It's only so much. It's only so much you can do. Like you got to understand. Like the defense.
No, everybody down there black. With the dude just put it up. The mayor is black. Everybody black. Everybody who running the town black. But the
You talking
prosecutor
about Frisco?
white. Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
well,
Go ahead, Miss
I
Shamika.
was looking at Judge Joe Brown. I'm sorry. Good morning, y'all. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was listening at Judge Joe Brown. I mean, I follow him and Dana a lot, and Judge Joe Brown did make a good point. You gotta keep in mind, Frisco is about 54%. I think it's white and maybe 13% black. Okay, well, the way he explained it, a lot of people don't realize just because it may have been 600 jurors, and there were like 84 blacks. Okay, well, a lot of the blacks may have had was a felon, so therefore it limits their pool of black, as far as blacks being on the jury. Now you can't go and, as a juror and say, well, I don't feel like I can, find a brother guilty. They give you this questionnaire. So a lot of them basically, in my opinion, probably didn't want to be a part of it. Okay. And so therefore you can't be biased. So then and then 3 of the teachers, they were teachers. So they got eliminated. So, and then another thing too, y'all, we have to look at the fact, I don't care, all these, we black and we this, that, and the third. I'm sorry, that young boy was wrong. And I'm going to tell you why he was wrong. He was wrong because at the end of the day, that's just like me and my homegirls got a house, right? We have a house that we have together. That's our house. Look at their tent as it being their tent, their house, whatever. Okay. At the end of the day, when you enter somebody's property, school, whatever, they ask you to leave. Are you the bully? Because at that point, you should have said, you know what, let me get up and let me leave. Now, I listen to a lot of credible bloggers because you got a lot that will give you misinformation. The gentleman, the people yesterday, the coach that actually gave Austin permission, he told him to watch the tent for the simple fact kids have things missing all the time. So he left him in charge.
Can I respond, ma'am? Can I respond? Because you were kind of rambling a little bit, but go ahead. I'll let you finish. My bad. When you get done, go ahead.
Well, I don't think you need to interrupt me because I don't think I'm rambling. I could say you rambling because you interrupted me.
Go ahead, Shamika. You good? You good?
Go ahead, sister. You got it.
So, thank you.
I like this shit.
Thank you. So, to make a long story short, like the coach that did testify on, I think it was Wednesday, he said that he left Karmelo in charge, not Karmelo, sorry, but Austin in charge. Well, he stated too, and he did it for the fact that they do have personal items on the tent. So all the things with the people saying too, this boy got jumped. He was never jumped. All of the kids that yesterday, even the surveillance, stated that he wasn't jumped. Now you had several teams that said that they all asked him to leave the tent. It wasn't just Austin. It was other kids that asked him to leave the tent. Now, a lot of people, because we stuck on, well, we just black and we just, no, when you wrong, you just wrong. And that's the problem, because we have so many of our kids that we losing now. And I also asked the question, if this young boy was not white, would this be televised like this? No, it would not,
Exactly.
because it
Okay.
happens every single day.
Mhm.
They don't give a flip about this. They want publicity off of this. It keeps division going. And instead of us learning how to tell our children how to have conflict resolution, because at that very moment, I don't care. You don't, whether you saying this boy was 230 pounds, Carmelo, Judge Anthony, not Judge Anthony, but
Joe Brown.
Joe Brown made a good example. He said when he played football, at the end of the day, you played football. That was your, so even down to
That's
that being
different.
an excuse, that's not an excuse. And again, my son also over a year ago was it was a little smart. He would have got a misdemeanor. It was a simple little, but we took it to trial. Okay, he was found not guilty. He had an all-white jury simply because we stay in an area, okay, where it's simply similar to Frisco. So I don't think a all right jury matters, but I do feel like they're gonna try to pull this and say, "Oh, well, listen, it's a strategy." Because at this point, that boy is. I don't give a flip what nobody says. All of this stuff with he was defending himself and all that. See, to us,
What
that's
is
a
he
part of
wrong
defense
about?
because we use weapons. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why we're losing so many of our young children, because that's what we resort to. And you're sending the message as if it's okay to defend yourself because somebody pushes you. Now, at the end of the day, was Austin wrong?
Keep your hands
I
to
feel like
yourself.
all that I get it. You keep your hands to yourself. But at the end of the day, y'all, would it be a keep your hands to yourself, or would it be televised if the boy was black? Be
Okay,
real.
can I say something? Can I respond to the two things real? I'm gonna just keep mine under a minute. Now, um, oh my goodness. I think a lot of black people need to quit like watching like they get emotional watching videos and looking at comments, and they start to have that Stockholm syndrome thing, making excuses for people who make excuses for them. And another thing too, the name of the game is it murder or not? And like I said before, once you provoke somebody, you got to have the intent. The knife, everybody talking about the knife, the knife, the knife, but the knife wasn't illegal. It was just, it ain't no telling what the policy was. And everybody in the world who done been to school, I done been to my sister track team, the cheerleading, everybody bunks from tent to tent in every state in America, all across the world. You're gonna see people from
Facts.
10 years ago, 5 years ago. Ain't nobody but worrying about nothing. But and the video shows him walking up, the people embracing him. He knew the people, so that's case closed about all that bunch of tent stuff. So a lot you got to go by what the police report said and what people saying in the courtroom. All the videos don't mean nothing. It's just a bunch of speculation. And
Can I
But
can I
then
Everybody,
they were
can I
also
respond to
saying,
that?
wait a
all
minute,
that bunch of
they were saying
all that bunch
too.
of
listen,
talking
my major
about if
point.
somebody left him in charge. This is the first time I ever heard that. If
But
the,
That
if
but
was in
wait,
that was in
can't leave no,
court.
yeah,
that was in
But
court. That's what I'm
everybody missing
saying.
the main key. Everybody missing the main part. What
yeah.
everybody missed. Austin McCaff, the people, because I'm from Texas. That boy was suspended. Ain't nobody telling that. That white
It
Mm.
boy
doesn't
wanted.
matter. That's different. That don't have
Yeah,
nothing
he
to do with
was. No,
this.
just listen. Just listen. Just
It
listen.
matters
The
if he
dude,
was.
the dude that died, the white boy, and we sorry that he died. On both sides was wrong. But the
I,
white boy McCaff, he was expelled. He got kicked
Mm.
off the football team. He
oh,
wasn't never supposed to be there.
Mm.
See, that's
Wait a
what
minute.
everybody missed. Watch, it's gonna
That what?
come out. It's gonna come out. He was
Well,
he
yeah.
was expelled. He was kicked off the football team. He wasn't never supposed to be there.
But you
So,
also know.
There's a
Yes,
reason
it
why
said
they
he was
didn't play
being
that video.
disciplined for
so guys,
going.
hold on. Let the host speak.
It said he was being disciplined for going fishing instead
Yeah,
of going to practice. So he wasn't. He got kicked off the team, and he was trying to prove that he still was a leader or something. So that's
he was
why
in
the
alternative
situation
school,
happened.
Kwame. He was in alternative school.
Well,
Mhm.
and I got one question for everybody on the panel. You know how growing up, your parents tell you or whoever black, well, some other races too. If somebody hits you, hit them back, and if somebody bigger than you, pick up something. Anybody ever heard that before? I'm
yeah,
asking.
So I'll respond. I'll respond to that
I
real
respond to
quick.
that shit
I'm
too.
just
I got
asking if
a couple things
I'm
to
just
respond to you
asking
on,
if you
man.
heard. I'm just asking if
I
y'all
heard it.
heard
Yeah.
that because
Yeah,
Shamika,
I heard it.
she said something about her son, like she's never heard these things before. She said her son caught a case, and it could have went bad for him. But she's
All right.
acting
It
like she's using
coulda.
her
So
son or the other
Eric,
guy's son.
I get that, but
Go
I
I
ahead,
don't
never
think.
go ahead.
said my son caught a case for assault. See, that's where you're
I
wrong.
didn't
I
say
didn't say
assault.
it was
I
about
said
that,
I
or
didn't say
I didn't.
assault. I didn't say case. I didn't say
So
nothing
what's
else. I
your
said
point?
I'm just saying. You just said your son caught a case, right?
I said that.
Okay, and then you said yeah, y'all fought it and went to trial. It's all white, and they didn't find him guilty. I'm not guilty
No,
because y'all
no,
live in it. You said not
right,
guilty because y'all live in the area, right? And it's an all white area, right?
right.
Okay, so you say hypothetically speaking, see I don't know if you raised your son not to have conflict resolution skills. So it's something I could say. Well, it's something he could have done without catching that case. See how that works. So anybody can say anything when they're not in a situation to make it sound good, but you never know.
Yeah, but I don't like that logic of he
I
did
don't like that
so
logic. That's what I'm
But
saying.
hold
Something.
on, hold on.
But go ahead. I'm
Let me
done.
say this. Let me say this because I was taught the same thing: pick up something and hit a person or whatever.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I was hold on, big time. You want to tell everybody else how to behave, and then you keep
Thank
interrupting
you.
everybody. So chill out
My bad.
now, because it's starting to look like you're pushing the agenda now. But with the whole situation of bringing a knife to school, my mama would have ripped my head off for taking a weapon to school. She wouldn't have minded me fighting on campus, but there's no way I'm taking a knife to school. And we got to be mindful of that because there's other parents and there's other mothers that's not going to appreciate him having a knife on school grounds. I'm telling you.
You
I know
right.
my
You
mama
right.
would be.
And
Facts.
I'm
That's
gonna
a
just, and I'm
hard.
gonna
I
just
was just saying. I was just saying if anybody. I
Hard.
never said
That's
it was
hard
right.
right there, Kwame.
but we got to be careful too because that works the other way around too. So when you get a
Exactly.
white dude who's smaller and then he shoots a bigger black dude, he can claim self. You got to be careful with
that.
that
Hey,
because
but
that
listen,
shit
KB.
works.
That was literally what George Zimmerman's argument was against Trayvon
Exactly.
Martin, is
Right,
because
right.
Trayvon Martin was tall. So we do have to stop with that narrative about because somebody is a bigger size person. Like I'm 6'1", 250. That doesn't give somebody 5'7", 150 pounds the right to try to aggress me. So we've got so that's not even helping Carmelo Anthony, but that also it just sounds wrong. It sounds like you're trying to create this kid to be a weak victim, and that's another issue for us to be such a strong race of people. Why are we so quick to victimize ourselves and say, oh, to
Mm,
treat Carmelo Anthony like he's such a weakling that he
mm.
needed a knife to defend himself
Yeah,
against this
I
big old
definitely ain't
country
gonna
white
do that.
boy?
Yeah,
No,
I
but
definitely ain't
nobody.
gonna do that. I'm saying
Some
it's
people,
wrong, man.
some
I'm saying
Go
it's
ahead,
wrong to
KB.
kids.
have that goddamn knife. He shouldn't have had that knife at the school. I don't do the whole black thing. I don't do the whole white thing. I
Yeah.
do a logic thing. I'm a parent first. And ain't nowhere in the hell I'm gonna tell my son that it's okay to take a knife to a school campus. I don't give a fuck what the other person doing. You gonna get your ass whooped that day.
Yeah.
And you
Thank
gonna
you.
have to get
That's
your the
true.
next day.
I'm kicking my son in the draws all the way from the school back to the house if he ever
Yeah,
brought a
we're
weapon
not
to the
doing that.
school function.
I
Yeah,
But
think
the
the
bottom line is
we
my
not
my
question.
bringing no
That's
knives and no weapons to campus because we know how that looks and we know the ramifications of that. We already know that. You gonna place yourself in this society that we just saw a white man get up there and beg for a black kid life for sweat equity, and we gonna still act like we don't know the first thing you gotta do is avoid their system. So
Hmm.
you
That part.
cannot be. We can't send the message of young boys like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you can do that." No, you shouldn't have had that damn knife. And I've
Thank you.
always said that.
that's
that's
true.
true.
KB,
You kind
But
of had
but
that knife.
I agree
KB,
with
can you share my screen real quick
that.
so we can make this clear what law he actually did break, bringing that knife to that situation?
Oh, you
Because
the
talking about
court
that back chat
the
again?
court
yeah,
the court
it's no,
already
no.
the court
Go look
already said it
on.
was.
Go look on. I got I'm sharing the screen. I'm sharing my screen.
But the court already said it
Yeah,
wasn't illegal. That's
No,
already like set
I'm
in
at
stone.
the court. The
yeah,
court.
you're right.
It depends on the size of the blade.
No, no.
It's 5 inch.
Share my screen. Share my
Hey
screen.
guys,
It's
hold
down.
on.
It's down.
Let Taryn land his plane. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Taryn.
share
Let
my
me
screen.
see.
It's down. I got it already highlighted.
Okay, I see it.
So what does it say?
Say on premise where high school, collegiate, professional sport events or interscholastic event is taking place, unless the person is a participant in the event a firearm location, restricted knife club, or prohibited weapon. So they got a whole bunch of lists of weapons. So this is where you can't have a knife at.
So what's the
So
charge?
when they got their high school stuff on, that means that's where this law is supposed to be a part of.
So what's the charge?
And as a parent, we got to know that. Y'all got to know that as parents, no kid is supposed to be around no weapon. They got zero tolerance for that, and y'all know it. Especially with these school shootings and all that. So he's going to do some time, and that's why I said, yeah, he's going to do some time. That's why I said it shouldn't be first.
He probably get probation.
Yeah,
No, he ain't getting probation.
Nah.
He ain't getting that.
I'm telling you, dude.
I think he's gonna do some time.
I'm telling you,
he
he
good.
probably gonna get what old girl got that went to that wrong apartment. That she went to the wrong apartment and unalived that dude.
Yeah.
She's gonna get he probably gonna get like 10 to 15, gonna be like 10 years, probably 5 years probation or something of that avenue.
Is he getting charged with that though? He just getting
He's
charged?
getting charged with murder. Dude. You gotta understand how Texas work. Anything you do with a weapon.
But hey, salute to everybody.
Okay,
I gotta
I'm
drop back in
saying
the bushes, man. Thanks
I
for having me up,
understand that
KB.
part,
This
but
is a
I'm
fire
asking,
topic. Take care.
did he get charged with more than just the first degree murder? I'm asking.
No, you're not understanding what I'm saying. There is no such thing as first, second, and third degree murder in Texas. There's murder and capital murder. The degrees are on the sentencing phase. That's how we do it. See, y'all don't know this.
Okay, so what's going to happen? So if he gets what's his? So they got to go back and deliberate whether he did what's the charge
if they find him guilty, he's gonna get
what?
Of murder.
Okay.
If he gets found guilty of murder, then Texas is gonna the judge is they're gonna listen to all the factors in line. If this is first offense, did he the intent and everything like that. What they looking at in this trial is did he actually kill the dude, the unalived dude? This is what they looking at. Was it justified? That's what they looking at. All right. Once they figure out it wasn't justified, now they're gonna go in the phase where what degree we gonna charge? What the sentence is gonna be? What is is gonna be the 10, 15 years? Because that's pretty much what old girl got. That they consider that like a manslaughter charge. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I said manslaughter.
But it's still considered murder.
Hold on, y'all. Sino said this was a cleat cleaner that he brought. So if it was a cleat cleaner, then what? Is that gonna
It doesn't
change.
Look up the definition. Pull up an image of the cleat cleaver so people can see what.
If you see your spikes, you are allowed to have that. If you work at a track, if you attract me, everybody has those.
But he used it as a weapon.
You can use a pencil as a weapon, sir. You can use a spoon or a knife as a weapon.
But it wasn't a pencil.
May I ask a question? May I ask a question real quick? Did the video come out? Because a lot of people saying that they saw the footage. Did the video come out?
Yeah, the only video they said came out was the video of him walking up and talking to his friends.
They confirmed that was the aggressor. They have confirmed that he was the aggressor. Karmelo
No, they didn't, sir.
Yes, they did.
How can they confirm when he walked up the steps and talking to his friends, hugging them and all that, and then the dude came 5 minutes later? What are you talking about? He was there first.
He got to the tent first to chill with people that he knew. So he didn't want
game over. So that's out of it. That's done.
So they confirmed that Karmelo did not want a problem with anybody. He wasn't causing a disturbance. He would have
left.
Yeah, he's not getting premeditated. That's off the tape.
They ain't even look. Y'all getting caught up in your own state stuff. What they gonna look at?
No, it's not. No, if it's first degree murder, brother. Brother, I used to be a deputy, bro. I know the laws, bro. Okay, he's not bothered. You okay, bro? Listen, just listen. Just
answer my
question. Let me give you like 5. Louisiana.
That's different in Texas. Yeah,
no, bro. Just listen. Just let me land my plane, bro.
Go ahead.
He's gonna beat this charge because they being that they from Texas, they overcharged him, bro. They have to prove premeditation. Him bringing a track tool does not prove premeditation. The man was not bothering nobody.
Jay,
you see how that works?
What I'm telling you,
you see how that works?
They don't have first degree
And the
murder in
police
Texas
officer
anymore.
said he was remorseful. He was crying. He didn't try to run from nobody. So that right there shows the human
They're
side.
gonna use that as proven guilt. See, y'all
Did
don't know what
anybody?
I
happens
mean,
word
because
has
he
got here,
didn't
man.
lie. He didn't.
How the media is
Oh
trying to
my,
spin it.
bro.
That's
Okay,
how
bro.
they
Okay,
that they're gonna.
okay. Let me try to explain to you the different degrees of deleting someone. Right? When you have first degree, that means you have premeditation, meaning you had optional time to prevent that murder. Even if you was planning it, you have every opportune time to change your mind and not follow through with the act. That means premeditation. It wasn't premeditated. It was spontaneous. It was just a spontaneous event. Now, what they should have charged him with was manslaughter. That's the worst they could have got him on. That's why I said that they gonna have a hard time proving premeditation, and he might walk. You
Yeah.
gotta listen
Did he?
sometimes, brother. It ain't about what Texas
Did
say,
he?
what Louisiana say, what nobody else they said.
There's got to be intent there too, and it just seemed to me like he was intending to get the boy off of him that was aggressing him. Didn't mean he was trying to kill him. I'm just trying to get this big 250, 220-pound monster off
I
me. And
think he gonna beat the whole thing. Tell you the truth, he gonna beat the whole thing, man.
I think he is too. I think
I
that
really
Let
do.
me try to, because somebody said something that was pivotal in the chat. Somebody said
He's
something that
not.
was pivotal in the chat. O- Okay, what y'all gotta understand languaging as well. If I sit up there and I say touch me again and see what happens, that's not threatening somebody.
That's
That
a
is a
warning.
warning
Yeah.
trying to tell you to prevent a threat. That is not a you're not threatening somebody. Y'all gotta learn self-defense. He's not provoking this man by saying, touch me again and see what happens. Or touch me and see what happens. He has a right to say that.
Is that the
See,
same
y'all gotta learn
scenario?
y'all.
But see, they so
If
scared
I'm
of white
shooting
people.
at
A lot
him,
of black people got
is
that
that the same
Stockholm syndrome.
scenario?
They don't believe in that. You're supposed to bow down to
But
white people, or some of these people on this panel.
That
that's
ain't.
not
No,
what
that's
listen,
not.
bro, that's not what black people are saying. That's what the media is saying. I don't think no black
Fox
person
News.
up there said that. The media is saying what they are saying. That's not what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is, you're supposed to
he's
just
talking about
run off.
black people
Get out
commit
of here, boy, and run off.
black
No, I
people
don't
Hell
commit
think
no.
like
everybody
hate
should run off,
crimes
but
and
you
we
got to
got
be
to do
mindful.
like
I'm a more of a base person. If I send my son to an event where they're with their peers on a school event, I don't expect no knife to be there. Now, if they got cleat cleaners, that's 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 something different. Then maybe he should have it there.
Yeah.
But to me, I would still say I would tell my son to use a different method. You got to take
Yeah.
that ass whooping that day. We
Yeah,
not.
you can
E-
tell your son
Even
whatever,
though, even
but kids are gonna be
Kwame,
kids.
even though you
I
get
can,
jumped,
but kids ain't
even
gonna
though
be
you get
kids.
jumped.
I don't got nothing to do with other people kids.
I
My son
understand.
gonna listen to what I say.
But
I
let me.
seen kids in
I
middle
mean,
school with
let me
razors
ask
and
this. Like,
everything.
It's
let
hard,
me.
You
Getting
seen
it's
up.
hard
kids
to tell
with you
somebody
seen
to walk
kids in
away.
middle school. You seen kids in middle school with father not named Kwame Brown. My son ain't taking no razor to school. Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of parents say that, but you don't know what can happen to
I
your
don't got
kid.
nothing to do with about a parent.
I know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's true
Looking
right
at the
there, bro. Because
facts of the trial, that's
I can
why.
tell my son not to do that. But if he get jumped, when you get to thinking in the situation when you jump, you ain't thinking. You grabbing the
He was
first thing
not
that you get.
jumped. He was not jumped. That's
How do
what
you?
you every that's what keeps going around. He's jumped. They even laid that out when he
It's gonna be
went
out.
and he's wait, but everybody keeps saying he was jumped. He was not
It was true.
jumped. What?
It should be two
No.
more people in this
Just
case.
you
It's
know,
two
of
more
Listen.
course,
people.
brother.
He
Hold on,
And
let
it,
the
in
sister
in
land her plane real quick. Let her land her
You
in
plane.
the
gotta
report in
okay,
the
okay.
report in the report he clearly stated he put his hands on me. He, not them, but he put his hands on me. That is where they're breaking it down, and they said within the video that it was shown. It was really they don't have a clear video. That's why they was like, well, you have a lot of kids nowadays. They're surprised because everybody video everything, but this surveillance it was very far away, so it is very distraught. So they really could only see. They said that they saw it was commotion. It lasted about 3 minutes, but he was never jumped. So see, that's why it's like we have to
So did
make
you
sure
see the
when we get
first
our
picture?
information
Did you
from.
see the first picture Fox put up that was fake? That they showed his
hold on.
eyes.
Just let her land. Just let her land. You gotta
I'm
let her
telling you,
land, bro.
he was never jumped. Okay, that's already been.
There are conflicting reports. Some say people that saw the video say he was. Others say he
Okay,
wasn't.
okay. Let me
Well, the police report is what he said. He
let
said
me
that he
let
put
me
his
try to
hands
help y'all
on.
out. Okay, but
Yeah, we need to wait for the video.
Miss Shamika, you also have to take in a you also have to take into consideration Austin twin brothers said that they both approached him. And once the man put hands on him, he's surrounded by him and a brother. So by proportionality, he could even score by pulling a weapon to defend himself. Y'all gotta learn y'all laws of
Well, see, that's
self-defense.
what I'm saying. Well, no, we got to learn exactly what is really going on in this case because again, you have and listen, they said, but those 4 to 5 people stated they testified yesterday. Yes, they were there. They told him, each one of them, it wasn't just Austin. They asked him to leave. They asked him, they said that they asked him, all of their stories was just really about the same. They asked him about 15 times to leave. Okay, at that point, at 15 times, if somebody asking you to leave, why didn't you just leave? Okay, so at this point, are you really the bully as well? Because I'm gonna show
Because
you I'm
maybe
not leaving.
his
If
company
you're
that had there told him he could stay.
I don't understand that what you're saying.
What if the people that what if the people that go to the same school that Austin goes to that were his friends said, "Hey man, you ain't gotta go nowhere." Then what?
well, first of all, that wasn't the case. Because what they're saying is it happened so quick.
Can't no student tell no other student to move. Go get a
The
mineral.
It
student,
kind of was because
Go get an adult. That's what you
it
supposed to
was in
do.
a state. Okay, Miss Shamika. I'm just going off of I'm just going off of the I'm just going off of documentation. Documentation be conversation. All right. I'm going off based off of what the surviving twin brother said. They approached him. Is even if he's not supposed to be in that tent, he still has a right to be there.
Right.
What they should have done, and I'm not trying to victim blame because it's just an unfortunate situation. They should have went to a coach, a teacher, or another adult to handle that situation. So you can't justify them approaching that young man. He had again in a statement, the twin brother said that they approached him. He didn't. I don't recall if he said, "Ma'am, just let me land my plane. I promise you, ma'am, I promise you, I'm gonna let you land your plane. Just let me get this out, okay?" In the brother's statement, he said that they approached him. So if this man is about to get violent and you are surrounded, it's guaranteed two for sure because the twin brother put himself there. Y'all gotta understand proportionality. If it's two against one, I can use a foreign object to defend myself.
Hell yeah.
You get it?
Approaching
I don't know about the other two.
Approaching and jumping is two different things.
By the twin
You
brother.
can't. But this is what I'm saying. No matter if the twin brother said you got to get up and leave, that doesn't mean what I'm saying.
Ma'am. It doesn't matter.
You lose anyway because that white boy wasn't supposed to be there anyway, bro. He was supposed to be there.
Okay, you talking back in circles because you keep saying what the twin brother saying that he has to leave.
No, my point.
You keep saying that he wasn't supposed to be there. However, he's not supposed to go and.
If you were finished, let me finish talking. What I'm telling you is whether the twin brother and him both approached him. They're saying he was being jumped as if this boy was jumped by multiple people. So even if the twin brother said, hey, the twin brother and multiple witnesses said they asked him to leave. The twin brother, they did not deny, the witnesses did not deny that they did not tell him to leave. What people were saying was he was being jumped by the Metcalf boys, like they jumped him, but in the statement, in the report, he was never jumped.
Man, them boys were known for bullies. They was known for being bullies all through the school year. They know one another.
It don't matter what they was known for. They didn't jump him. That's what y'all keep missing the point.
Well, we can't sit up there and say they was bullied, man. We can't say that we was bullied. That's all alleged. We just basing it off what facts and evidence, man. You can't
Cino,
put
what you got on it,
speculations
man?
on that.
We
You
gotta.
can't put
Hey, let's pass it around a little bit. The same people are starting to talk over and over. Cino, what you got on it?
Well, the way I see it is this: people are not looking at law, and they're not looking at the situation. When you look at the situation, the government, well, the state, rush to prosecute right away,
Yep.
and they made a mistake in doing that and charged him with murder, first degree murder, and all. They went way too far. They tried to say he brought a knife to school. This is the way they put it in the media and turned the whole thing around. But when you get to the evidence of it, he was there for a track meet. There was a rain delay. So the track stars, the people that were supposed to run track, like he was there to do, they were sent by another coach who told him he could go wait under the tent. So they sent him under the tent. The coaches told him to go up under the tent. Now
Yep.
that's the tent, that's the rival tent. Like that's the football team that plays. That's their tent. So he's telling him he's got to move. But the coach sent him there, told him just go sit there. Why it's raining and everything. Just go on over there and sit under the tent. So that's why he went under the tent, because he was sent there. So everything else, it was their interaction telling him he can't be there. He got to leave. Um, whether he was jumped or approached by one, from what I've heard, it was the brother, the one that got stabbed, is the one that put his hands on him and
Facts.
started tussling with him. And what he stabbed him with was his cleat cleaner.
Yep.
He has the object, which means he did not do something premeditated. A cleat cleaner is what he would supposed to have if you're a track star, to clean the cleats off, clean the dirt and stuff out of your cleats. Every track person has one. So
Yep.
for him to have that there is not something foreign or something
That's
that
true.
was banned that he couldn't have on him. So that's once they figure all this out
Hey,
and they
Casino,
hear all the
I feel
evidence, by it
as you
being
in high school,
Texas and the law, like they should have probably charged him with like second degree manslaughter, something that they could probably get a conviction of.
Oh, Cino, they're gonna call you stupid and an idiot like me because I said that exact same thing earlier. I said, listen, I wouldn't when they said it was a knife, I said I wouldn't bring a knife. I said, but because a kid got stabbed at that thing, they should have charged him with like manslaughter. Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't see how you're gonna meet first degree.
That's more reachable.
That's
I don't think
exactly
they
what I
get.
said. It's more reasonable because once they rushed to judgment. They saw a black kid stab a white kid. It's Texas. That town, which is 87% Caucasian, the jury, which is all white, uh, but it's a lot of racial pressure there. Like a lot of the people are paying attention to it in a very serious manner. Like it's a very serious issue where like Bill Crump, everyone else has gotten the world's attention. So I think they're going to be under pressure to have to, follow the facts, which is what they should do. And once they get there and see that what the media has been putting out and portraying is different, and just go off the facts and the evidence. It was only a 3-minute altercation. The kid turned himself in. It's not about the dad and the mom and all of this stuff. Like they tried to go mend things with them and they didn't want to mend it with them. I'm like, I don't care about that. It's about the case. No one's saying that that kid should have lost his life. That incident should have never taken place. But unfortunately, this kid lost his life behind it, and I just think they rushed to judge and tried to go for the harshest penalty. And Texas has a history of this, and I feel that they should have went with a lesser charge, like a manslaughter charge, to at least try to see, get a conviction of it. And they still might not have gotten that because everything seems to align to self-defense because one, they approached him. They've admitted that they approached him and tried to basically tell him to move, and he didn't want to move. So basically, they saying that the whole engagement was them physically trying to remove this person by approaching him first
And
and
they said
stating
it
that
was
he
3
goes.
minutes. How long were they fighting? Because he just said 3 minutes is a long time for a fight, and I had to think about that. That's a whole boxing round.
Well, they said the whole thing
3 or 4 minutes?
lasted, seemed like about 3 minutes, but it probably was already over by that point.
Okay.
But they're saying it's allowed at about 3 minutes. But after the incident was done, he ran to a officer or slash security guard who was there and told him he had just stabbed someone. And he was sobbing. He was
Now, how
very
come that ain't the narrative that all these outlets put up? Because they made this kid seem like, and that's what made me mad. They made him seem like this angry little thug black boy that just took a knife to the school. And when you hear the reports, that's not what really happened. If he was crying, sobbing, he admitted to it. That debunks that thug narrative that they put out.
Yes.
Hey, Kwame, let me say this on it real quick. Yeah, we got to understand when you go to court, a lot of times you get hit with what my man was saying, mitigating circumstances. I mean, like he's always in fights, he always doing this, and you got witness that's gonna say, you know, and the teachers testify and say, yeah, or somebody saying he does this all the time. He's a troubled youth. See, you don't even have those circumstances for one. And it's going to be a miscarriage of justice, just like the child case. You did the wrong charge. It's almost like the when you do somebody getting an accident. He was a distracted driver, but you unalive someone. They don't charge you with the big M. They don't. They got involuntary and then you got voluntary. Involuntary is what they probably would have stuck him with, and that can run from 2 to 20 years or 30 years. So they really could have got him. That's what they're gonna be pissed off with, like I was with the child case. And second of all, that jury is not all white. It's not. It's all non-black. So we can start there. And that family decided to move in Frisco. And if you ever been to Frisco or Plano, you know what time it is. And we ain't there like that. So please, people in here, please understand that even if you see some black people there, they're well-to-do. They're gonna be some high position people. It's full of Indians. It's like 35% Indian population. I'm talking the red dot Indians. And it's almost 40, it's like 45% white people. Understand the dynamic. I guarantee you, Karmelo, his students, people, parties he going to and who he playing with, and it is white or non-black, I should say. It's Asians there. It's South Asians. That's what Indians are. So that's where we at right now. They're probably comfortable with it. We're not, because I don't be around a total non-black people. It's just my life has never been set up like that, even in the military, sports. And you got to know, we keep saying, I'm gonna give you this angle and give it back. They keep saying they didn't get into an altercation. Look at that picture. Look at that little bump. You ever wrestled somebody or you get a little fisticuff? You get a little bump right there on your face. If you see the mugshot, he got one. And the records have shown through other people, and they're saying Hunter was even throwing punches. He got away before. One guy was trying to tell the story, but it's going to come out, so I can't really speculate on it. But two people, a knife evens the fight. We got to know that. And if it's a cleaner, which is about 5 inches, then you can have one. It just is unfortunate. They're going to drop the ball on this one. That first degree, they'll never get it. Sorry for going so long, bro.
No, that was perfect because I don't believe they're going to get it either.
Me either. We all aligned on that. We all saying the same thing on that one. I don't get it. I don't get why they charge them with this. And I heard the court, they kept saying you could flick the thing out. It has some pressure release button. Does these cleat cleaners have a pressure release button to flip it out with one hand or something?
Yeah. I Googled a couple of cleat cleaners. I ran track. I didn't use one, but I don't know what the thing is. I never had to use it. But even if it was a knife, punish me as a student for having an illegal knife. You know what I mean? Because you're not supposed to have it at school, point blank, period. I know why he got it, because he do have to leave school and go to work and maybe ride with somebody. It's for his protection. He took a chance. He got caught with it. Because, yeah, man, I didn't go to school with a knife. It's some people do, but you can't go on school grounds with it. Ain't nobody saying you can't have it. You just can't be on school grounds with it.
Well, if it was a cleat cleaner, he could legally have that. There's no, because he's on the track team. He's not like just out there. He's actually on the team. So for him to have a cleat cleaner is part of like his like tools that he would need for track. He was there for track. He wasn't there to just chill and hang out. He was there for track. They had a rain delay. So that was the only reason he was even over there on that side.
Yeah, look, man, if the people in here, if you ever ran track, you know how it goes. It's like it's cliques, it's crews. You can go over there, but no student has. Look, you can. This is what started. You not about to tell star players of their team. You're not telling me nothing. First of all, so them sitting there arguing alone, they arguing with their mouth and they arguing with their body language. If you posture up in front of me and you standing at my face, you think I got to wait for you to hit me? I don't have a duty to retreat in Texas. You can't threaten. If you threaten me enough, you could take someone's life. That's how crazy, man. They got different laws down here. Put it like that. And all you got to do is make sure you ain't got a public defender. You about to get off. You not about to play in people face down here in Texas. It was the worst state ever. They was executing people and everything. If y'all look at the laws, somebody was trying to explain it. I was like, dang, dude must be down here because he know what time it is. This ain't Alabama. This ain't Mississippi. This ain't South Carolina. This is Texas.
Yeah. So that's going to come down to the whole debate. Is it going to be considered a knife, or is it a cleat cleaner, what they call a cleat sharpener?
And it seems like it's gonna come down to whether he intended to do it or not. Because with his hand in the bag, they're like, it was premeditated. He had his hand on the knife. I'm like, how can you see his hand in the damn bag? He could have
Right.
had his hand on orange juice.
Yep.
I mean, that still doesn't show premeditation. That just shows defense. So
Right.
it's to a point. Yeah, my fault. I didn't mean to cut your knowledge off, but it's like this. You know, the prosecutor, he did a bad job. He should have just did it as second degree or third degree, because there's no premeditation there. There's really none. Now you done overshot. He's gonna beat this charge, and now you got an all-white jury. And if you know how the law works, that's not a jury of his peers. So he's gonna win in the appeal if they do find him guilty. And then you got these Chud the Builder fans outside the courthouse doing all the craziness. All that's gonna play in this appeal. So it's like, just let the law work the way the law's supposed to work. But the prosecutor messed that up by overcharging him. Like I said, it should have been second degree or third degree, because it was not intentional. There was no premeditation there. Once again,
What if they did
so I
this
can
for
try
a
to.
reason to get black folks
Mhm.
to act up outside so they could get more arrests or more whatever? Because if they start
I believe
rioting,
that.
you know what I'm saying? If they start rioting before the appeal, then what?
Well, it was.
I believe that's kind of I believe that's all coincidental, because you got Shud on the other hand, he facing what he facing, and now we got this young man going to trial, and it's all in the same timeline. You got a good point there, KB. Okay.
And the Asian dude got off with that shooting. People mad as fuck.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, that Asian dude got off with that shooting. If Carmelo anything less than him getting out, folks gonna go crazy.
And you got to, and I don't know if anybody looking at this though, but you know, San Antonio is in the finals. So if they enter a verdict that, you know, if somehow San Antonio wins the championship and they enter a verdict that people down here don't like, you know what I'm saying? That could make them forget about that. because they said they want to get the trial over within what, 2 weeks or a week and a half, something like that. They want to get done quick. They there today. Matter of fact, they there.
So he must have wished for.
Aren't they in court today?
So he must have wished for. He must have requested for a speedy trial. So they
There's
trying.
no court on Saturday.
No, but they said they're gonna have them. They're gonna have hearings on Saturday, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 6.
Oh, they are. Wow.
That's what I was hearing from like content creators though.
Oh yeah, no, I think they probably gonna resume on Monday because it's the government, like the federal government. So I don't think they're gonna be open on Saturday. But like for a trial of this magnitude, I think they would do it on the weekdays. But you never know. I mean, they had some. I don't know. I've never seen that done. No. Not for like a murder case.
Yeah, I had never saw that, but because that woke me up.
Right,
I was
because
halfway asleep listening. They
clerk
like,
offices are closed. Like everything's closed. So
yeah,
I'm like, well, I don't know how they gonna have a court hearing. Like I could see if it was like something like city wise, like county. Like they had a Saturday morning hearing, a bond hearing or something. But yeah, it's different. Like after Saturday,
But
only bond hearing days. Then Sunday is no court.
yeah, Sunday. No, they ain't talking. They ain't touch Sunday, but I did
Yeah.
hear they was gonna have proceedings on Saturday. They trying to get this over with. We'll see. We'll see. I guess we'll find out
I
today.
will say this. I will say this though. I will say this though. Let the Chud situation and this situation, y'all need to use this as a lesson to teach our children on when to use self defense, when it's right to protect themselves with something that's possibly that could delete someone. Teach them their laws because they could get railroaded even if they're in the right, especially in this climate. So just brush up on your laws. Take your emotions out of it. Teach them about the law.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true. It's gonna come down to the law because they're gonna have to prove premeditated murder, and if they don't do premeditated, they're not gonna get first degree murder. I don't see how you get first degree murder out of this.
Right.
But right now it's the prosecution.
I don't see it either. And
The state bringing their witnesses up and they testifying. So basically, it's the defense hasn't taken a stand yet. It's the state. So everybody that's against Karmelo, they trying to
Oh
convict
yeah,
Karmelo.
yeah. They brought in witnesses to get the sympathy, the support. You let the witnesses go first, and the friends, people who really have no eyewitness whatsoever. They just witness the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
And they're just friends of the person who died. And they're just there for impact, basically impact, to try to give people, the jury all sobbing about the situation.
Exactly. They plan
All the distraction from the facts of the situation.
Right. Because they say they playing the video of him actually dying. They saying
let me
all that. They talking to the paramedics that was on the scene.
yeah, I heard all that. I just never seen
They're basically pulling on the heartstrings of the jury.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, hey, all right, guys. I got to close this one out because I got to run to this farmer's market and then we got to get on that basketball talk, man. That was a crazy game. It's over. New York in 4.
No, man.
What you talking about?
I lost a fortune last night off that.
New York in 4, boy. They couldn't do nothing with Carl Anthony Town.
I can't wait till you come back, bro. Yeah, we got to talk about that, bro. That's
I never want to talk about that game again.
Dude, and then they got to go to New York in the Mecca. Oh, my God.
San Antonio going to win 2 in New York.
Oh, shit. Hey, man, I can't wait for us to talk about this here later because I think it's over. Bring the brooms out.
Yeah, hey, everybody set your notification.
All right. Salute, man. I appreciate appreciate everybody who super chatted. Sorry I didn't read them all because people was, they was going at it. But I appreciate all y'all.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Right. Salute. Motherfucker start building a carburetor on live. What the hell? Y'all have a blessed day, man. I'll be back.